Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Ross Johnston. SEC Media Days wrap up today with Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, and Texas A&M set to speak. 3HL will be there live to keep you covered for the final day with exclusive interviews. In the NFL, the Washington Commanders have signed free agent outside linebacker Von Miller. Terms are not yet known, but the 8-time Pro Bowler will be headed to D.C. The San Francisco 49ers signed their second-round pick, Alfred Collins, from Texas. This marks the first second-round pick to receive a non-fully guaranteed contract and could get the wheels turning for other second-round picks, including Titans edge rusher Femi Oladejo. The Titans also just made a move and agreed to a 2-year deal with running back Jordan Mims. Nashville SC got back on the winning track last night, beating Columbus 3-0 at home. Sam Surge took back the lead for the Golden Boot race with his 17th goal this season, which came in the 82nd minute. Goalkeeper Joe Willis also had 4 saves for his 8th shutout of the season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Man, you want to talk about blowing a gasket? I am just about on my last leg. We've done 3.5 hours of talking already this morning. We got 3 more to go. And then I'm off to California. We're going to leave you in the very trustworthy hands of the good Dr. Kevin Dyson and Rhett Bryan tomorrow because Lucas is gone. Robert's still out with bronchitis, and I am getting one last vacation in before Titans training camp begins. Ross is back there again. I guess I'm going to drag him along the rest of the way. Been carrying this dead weight. I mean, I'm used to carrying dead weight given who else is on the show with me, but Ross is particularly useless depending on the day. Although today I'm going to need you more than ever, bud, because I am almost talked out and the show just started 3 minutes ago.
Well, buckle up. It's going to be a great Thursday. I don't want this negative energy from you that I'm starting to get already, even though I'm used to it at this point.
What negative energy? It's just me on a Thursday.
I'm just going to need you. The 12 o'clock hour is going to be rough.
Me coming out of, so it's true. The noon hour is probably going to be the worst you've ever heard me because that will be the last hour of talking that I have to do today. Did 3 hours of Fox this morning. We worked our way through some technical difficulties. We did the install with Greg Cosell, which despite Robert's illness, I'm making him work while he's sick to make sure that podcast goes up, and 3 hours left of local radio before I get out of here. And then when we come back, when all 3 of us come back, it'll be time for training camp, which we are all very much looking forward to. You can jump in there if you want to, 615-737-1045. If I'm going to lean on Ross today, I might as well lean on you guys today. The F&M Bank chat, also not reliable enough to lean upon, but we will take your comments there, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Tony on YouTube says, Buck gets more vacation time than anyone I know. Yeah, and what? What are you going to do about it? You don't want a little break from me every once in a while? God knows I need a break from you every once in a while, but it's okay. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, and we will come back refreshed and ready for the grind of another football season. Now, there have been a couple of different things going on this morning since we last talked. One of those things is the Titans signing Jordan Mims to come in here and add depth to their running back room. Not a high-level player by any stretch of the imagination, a player with 2 years of experience. He's been in New Orleans as a UDFA for a little while now. His career stats, he's got 20 rushes for 70 yards, 12 receptions for 71 yards, all of those statistics coming last year for a Saints team. He played in 11 games total, doesn't have a start to his name yet, but you're turning the bottom of the roster. You're getting ready for training camp. You're making the necessary adjustments, and they come in here or he is coming in here to continue to try and bolster both their special teams and running back depth. God knows the special teams are in desperate need of revamping, and that's something that John Bones Fossil, has been working diligently to try to accomplish. That is going to be a huge part of it, but it's not the biggest Titans-adjacent news or Titans-related news today. The San Francisco 49ers, as you heard in Ross's update, signed their second-round pick, Alfred Collins, last night. If you have not been paying attention to what's been going on with the second-round picks, the Houston Texans and then the Cleveland Browns basically gave double middle fingers to the rest of their league when they gave their second-round picks fully guaranteed contracts. Now, I have no issue with that, other than it then requires every other team to have to capitulate to a full, or at least have to negotiate through the process of why aren't you giving me Tennessee Titans, Femi Oladejo? Why is Femi Oladejo not getting a fully guaranteed contract when the Texans and the Browns are giving out these guarantees to their second-round picks? On principle, I would say you typically don't need to do things contractually that the Cleveland Browns do. They are one of the worst-run organizations in sports and continue to be so. But Alfred Collins signing last night is the first deal that a second-round pick has signed because it's caused a little bit of a, I wouldn't say it's an outright holdout, but a bit of a hold-in among all these other second-round picks because they should. That's exactly how they should respond to seeing somebody else get a fully guaranteed contract. The Niners finally got a deal done with Alfred Collins. His rookie deal is worth $10.3 million over 4 years. $9 million of it is going to be guaranteed. So the majority of it, a good chunk of it, is going to be guaranteed money, but it's not a fully guaranteed deal. And that's a huge domino to have fall into place, to get the ball rolling with these other second-round picks, to point to this and say, okay, what if we go 80% guarantees, 85% guarantees with you guys? Will that help soothe the situation? Will that help get you under contract? Will that help get you ready to rock for camp? Not that there would be another Shamar Stewart situation, which, by the way, we haven't talked about this week. Shamar Stewart, the first-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals this year, is not with the team at all. Teams, I guess the Chargers have officially reported to camp. Everybody else is coming back next week or will trickle down throughout the course of the end of this week into next week. But Shamar Stewart, the first-round pick of the Bengals, 18th overall selection, is back in Texas A&M at College Station practicing with Texas A&M.
But reportedly not allowed to play again. Just with the team right now.
Right. But he can sit out the entire 2025 football season, declare again for the draft, and not be drafted by the organization that he is currently refusing to sign his first-round contract for, because the Bengals are trying to do Bungles type of things to him in terms of the contract language that he's dealing with that it sounds like nobody else is having to put up with. And Shamar Stewart, I am team Shamar Stewart on this. He's maximizing his leverage. If the Bengals want to be stupid enough to play chicken with with their best pass rusher, who is not currently on a new deal in Trey Hendrickson, and then draft a pass rusher, but also try and, nitpick over contract language with him, then the Bengals are the fools here, and Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart should hold them accountable because rarely enough do the players have enough leverage to hold these organizations accountable. Go ahead, try to get a third down stop. Joe Burrow's going 9-8 because he can't get a defense to stop a nosebleed. Keeps missing the playoffs. You're going to get your coach fired because you make the playoffs or miss the playoffs for the third straight year because you can't get a pass rush? Go ahead. F around and find out. I'm team Shamar Stewart on that. So I hope that doesn't impact his draft stock. I'm sure that it would. Would he sit out the entire year and then redeclare? Because that's going to be a talking point in every conversation that he has with every team, save the Bengals, that tries to draft him again, if that's the route that he chooses to take. Or the Bengals could just pull their heads out of their asses and get this contract done with both of these players, because God knows they need them to not waste the time of one of the best quarterbacks in football. But that Alfred Collins deal is consequential. Hopefully we start to see a domino effect for second-round picks around the league. Femi Oladejo is, I believe, the only unsigned Titans rookie right now, if I'm not mistaken. I will double-check that for you during the commercial break, but that was a big part of the reason why. And God knows the Titans need Femi on the field because their pass rush is also something that is pretty suspect. All right. The ESPYs were also last night, and I told Ross I want to play basically Shane Gillis' entire monologue. We're going to do that later in the show. We're not going to do that right now because I think it is worth hearing. It's the first time that I've actually watched the ESPYs.
I was not able to watch because I was doing Nashville SC, but I was checking my Twitter and seeing the individual joke clips, and let me tell you, it was outstanding.
Yeah.
For those of you that didn't get to watch.
No, I'm upset about the ESPYs, but not because of Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis was a rock star. I'll tell you why I'm pissed about the ESPYs
crowd was
later
just
on.
rough, too. Like, just laugh. It's not going to kill you. They were funny jokes.
Speaking of Nashville SC, 3-0 over the Columbus Crew in their new uniforms, which I guess is what's in that box. I wasn't aware that was that the jerseys, the new soccer kits are in that box. Apparently the soccer team, I should probably reach over and grab the box and see if the jerseys are actually in there, or if it's just an empty ceremonial box, as is probably the case, or if somebody came in here and stole the things that were supposed to be for Lucas, Robert, and me. But they debuted new kits last night, then they went out there and kicked Columbus's ass. And I believe that's now 10 undefeated results at home, even though their streak of 15 straight. Oh, there are jerseys in here. Lots of jerseys. I assume that these, I don't know what sizes they are. Oh, that double XL is for sure, Robert. There's no way he fits in a double XL. I mean, he's going to look like a sausage in this.
You think he's lost some weight this week with the sickness?
No, I think he's probably done nothing but sit around, eat, and try and smoke cigarettes through the bronchitis. Okay. He said he lied through his teeth last night because I made him do prime time through his sickness last night. Because all he has
had
to
a
do,
producer last night. That's good.
Yeah, rare enough thing. And I asked him how many hours, be honest with me, how many hours since you have been sick with this illness have you spent on the college football game? And he lied to me through his teeth and said none. He said he hasn't played. He's just been sleeping, and I don't believe him at all. At all. There's no way he hasn't picked up the sticks at some point.
Once again, I would imagine his quarterback is in the NFL by now, if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably so. He's probably won multiple national championships with the ECU Pirates, and he's probably laughing at us while we carry the load of the radio show while he fakes sick. No, he did sound pretty terrible.
He sounds not great. He called me when I was driving in, and I felt pretty bad for him.
Wheezing. I don't feel bad for him at all. He needs to stop smoking cigarettes, but he's wheezing through the inhaler and using the inhaler to supplement the cigs that he can't smoke right now. So we do hope that Robert gets better. And Lucas is sending us shots of him and his lovely fiancee Megan on the cliffs somewhere in Brazil, just taking it all in while we're scrambling. Ross and Robert are having to come together this morning because I, foolishly booked 4 hours of talking before the local show started today, so I wasn't able to show prep. And Lucas is just laughing at us all, sending us pictures of all the wonderful meals that he's having and all the lovely views in Brazil that he's taking in. And he's going to try and fake sick and call in sick on Monday as if he's actually sick when he should just have taken that day off anyway to recover from an international trip. His ass is working Monday. If one of us is going to be here on Monday, it's going to be him and not me.
Well, I was going to say you also said that you would take a sick day as well.
Oh yeah. So, don't play chicken with the train. I will absolutely hold this entire thing hostage.
So the show will be in shambles on Monday.
Likely, but it's been in shambles all week. It's usually in shambles. What's the difference?
That's fair.
Coming up next, we are going to get into the NFL wide receiver rankings. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to join in the conversation. We're also going to get back to our one big thing about every SEC program as SEC Media Days continues on. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. In about 40 minutes from now, Hattie B's will officially be open. Any one of their Middle Tennessee locations. But if you can't wait to get your order in, you can download the Hattie B's app. You can schedule it to be delivered as soon as they are able to do so. It's usually within about the first 15 to 20 minutes of when those stores open. You can get it here in Middle Tennessee, Atlanta, Birmingham, Dallas, Austin, Vegas, any one of their fine locations, no matter where you listen to the radio show.
Got it for lunch yesterday.
What'd you get?
The 3 tender plate, I believe.
Yum.
With fries and mac and cheese.
You believe you've forgotten what you had for lunch yesterday?
It was a long day yesterday, not going to lie to you.
Oh, so sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Okay, well, let's not pity ourselves here. Help. Someone save me.
You only have one more day of this.
Someone come back here and take over.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's so funny every time one of the new producers has to do a day with me by themselves because Jackson probably got the worst of it because
there's no probably with that. He did.
Okay, but deserved. Like in terms of performance, I don't lash out unnecessarily. Or do you disagree with that?
Disagree.
I feel like every time one of you screws up and I tell you about it, that's not unwarranted criticism.
Disagree.
You all tell me every time I screw up.
Yes, because you give it to us way more than we give it to you.
Well, accountability. That's what this show is all about, famously.
Amen.
Speaking of accountability, 3HL is there to account for all of your SEC Media Day needs. You can tune in for the rest of the week as they continue their live broadcasts this afternoon. SEC Media Days down there in Atlanta. You can hear all the latest SEC news during 4 days of special interviews and conversations that they've been able to put together that you simply will not get anywhere else. The SEC Media Day coverage is sponsored by Brian's Motorsports and Medical House Calls. For more information and a schedule of interviews, or to just catch up on all the interviews that they've done, visit 1045thezone.com/events today. All right, so we are on the precipice of training camp. Chargers are reporting, so training camps have officially opened in the NFL, which means we're just about done with list season. There's only one Titans-related list thing that needs to be brought up, and today it's the top 10 cornerbacks list. We're also going to talk about the wide receivers because I do think there's a conversation to be had. Was that yesterday that I said Lamar Jackson should have been the number one quarterback on the list?
Yes, that's when we talked about the top 4 guys and how they were sort of ranked.
Okay, I can't remember where I've said these things now. I'm talking in too many places, it feels. But I did take big issue with Patrick Mahomes receiving a career achievement award by being ranked the number one quarterback heading into 2025 because I would make the case that he's 4th. I think he's behind Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow based on his most recent performance. Can he flip the script again and become the greatest quarterback that any of us have ever seen and continue his winning ways? Of course he can. He's more than capable. But my issue was these are projections for the 2025 season, and you cannot look at the 4 of them, all 4 in the AFC, all 4 who the Titans have to figure out how to get past if they're ever to achieve at any kind of reasonable level in the next decade, because those guys aren't going anywhere anytime soon. That Patrick Mahomes 2024 was 4th best after Lamar Jackson, who should have been the MVP, after Josh Allen, who was the MVP, and frankly after Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow wasn't the problem with the Bengals last year.
Could have fairly gotten more MVP votes too, honestly.
Who's that? Burrow?
I believe so.
It's a tough justification and I know he finished with a winning record, and I know like him and Chase they were just truly awesome. They were truly awesome last year and infuriating because of how bad that defense was and something that doesn't project to be better in 2025 because they won't sign their first-round pick or their star pass rusher.
Well, I was going to say, where do you think they would have been picking this year in the draft had they not had Joe Burrow as their quarterback?
Seriously. You can have all the Jamar Chases in the world if you don't have a quarterback like Joe Burrow to execute that offense, and he executes at a high level. So my issue yesterday was Lamar Jackson, to me, heading into 2025, is most recently the best quarterback in professional football. I think there's more ways that Lamar can threaten you right now than Pat can. And maybe that's because he's got Derrick Henry in his backfield and Patrick Mahomes doesn't. Okay, that's fine. Lamar Jackson still has more ways that he can beat you right now than Mahomes can if you're talking about individual players. The cornerbacks list is out right now, and that is something that does see a Titans player receive honorable mention. And you would say, well, what the hell is a Titan doing wandering around in the top cornerback rankings, given what the state of the Titans secondary was last year? And it will probably surprise you even further to know that L'Jarius Sneed is the player who is receiving honorable mention votes here in ESPN's top 10 cornerback rankings. Just to refresh, if you're not familiar with these lists, Jeremy Fowler, who does an excellent job reporting and interviewing all of the different necessary parties, executives, scouts, and coaches to accumulate these rankings, take in all their votes, and then compile a list as a result. Now, here's the top 10. Pat Surtain, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Derek Stingley on the Texans is 2. Denzel Ward, Trent McDuffie, Sauce Gardner, who just got paid, Christian Gonzalez of the Patriots, who is going to be an interesting pairing with Carlton Davis this year. Greg and I were talking about the AFC East today on the pod. J.C. Horn, whose health has been something that has to be taken into consideration, but there's no question he's a talented player. Jalen Johnson, Quinyon Mitchell, and Devin Witherspoon of the Seattle Seahawks. You have, in the honorable mention category, Sneed. And that's the only, so the players that have been even referenced in these lists, Jeff Simmons has been the only top 10 player. If they do, I think they do a specialist list. So I would assume that Morgan Cox would be on there. But save the specialists, Jeff Simmons is the only player ranked in the top 10 in any of these lists. Kevin Zeitler received votes. Peter Skoronski finished as an honorable mention candidate in the interior offensive lineman rankings. And here's Sneed as the, 6th player in the honorable mention category. This is the quote from an NFL personnel evaluator. I know he had a rough year with injuries and some off-the-field stuff, but he was really good for 3 years in Kansas City. So he's getting ranked based off what he still did in KC. God knows it's not because of the Titans or his career with the Titans.
Well, the ESPN came out with another article about who fell out of the top 10, and there were 3 corners, Sneed being the first, Jalen Ramsey and Jair Alexander were the other 2. And in this, they basically say all they give is that Sneed was limited to 5 games in his first season in Tennessee with a quad injury, and he did not participate in the Titans offseason program, raising doubts about whether he'll live up to the elite corner status his rich contract suggests, and then includes a quote from Coach Callahan at the end of minicamp, which said, we're waiting for him to show us the player that he's been, and he obviously has not done that yet in Nashville.
I remember when they were trying to get it done, the trade specifically, and Brian Callahan was one of the loudest voices, not publicly, but privately, in that organization to try and get L'Jarius Sneed here, because Brian Callahan believed L'Jarius Sneed, and there was certainly evidence at the time to say that could be, if he's not the best corner in football, he's one of the top 3. And he was, but he was also on an excellent defense with a hell of a defensive coordinator. And not to take anything away from L'Jarius Sneed individually, but there were a lot of things that helped L'Jarius Sneed also look like the kind of player that you thought could be a cornerstone piece to help turn this franchise around. I don't think that Brian Callahan's evaluation was wrong, because you look at Sneed on tape and he's that guy. And I think the Chiefs suffered without him. We talked about what A.J. Brown did to that secondary in the Super Bowl, and he ran roughshod over them. Now, I don't know that L'Jarius Sneed outright could stop A.J. Brown. We'll get to the wide receiver rankings here in just a second, and I think A.J. Brown is too low, and he's in the top 10. But Sneed has said, he spoke the only time that you've heard him speak since locker room cleanout. And hell, I don't even think he was there on locker room cleanout day. If I remember correctly, the last week of the regular season was the first time that we had seen Sneed since he had the procedure, which was a bone marrow transfusion that I did not realize you needed for a quad injury, but the complications of his quad injury we've talked about required more extensive, more of an extensive procedure than you might have otherwise realized, certainly than he did. And I think it sounded like, based on what he told us, took his medical team, whether internal or external, quite a bit of time to try and figure out that. I don't think we're ever going to get Kansas City Chiefs L'Jarius Sneed in Tennessee.
I would be shocked.
And that sucks because it doesn't mean that it can't happen, but playing the percentages, my entire issue, and I know I'm in reruns here, but my entire issue, my biggest issue with their offseason strategy in 2024, coming into the 2024 season, was you are paying an outrageous amount of money to two cornerbacks who both have, if not injury history, injury situations revolving around them. Cheeto has been a player that's missed a lot of time due to injury. God knows that was the case again last year. L'Jarius Sneed, maybe he's not injured, but he's coming in with a degenerative condition that is going to have to be managed, and you are going to pay not the bargain price for that. You're going to pay the premium plus the draft pick that you gave up to acquire him. My entire issue, my biggest issue by a mile with their offseason strategy was, what the hell are you doing giving that much money and investing that much draft capital into the highest variance position on the football field? Corner is the thing that comes with the biggest roller coaster ride. You are dealing with the officiating and how the defensive backs are officiated in the game. You are dealing with fire-breathing dragons at wide receiver everywhere who are going to get theirs no matter how sound these players are in coverage. You are dealing with the level of athleticism. Maybe wide receiver and corner are on an even playing field as far as the level of athleticism required to play those positions. That doesn't last very long. That falls off pretty quickly. Some guys, beat the odds and end up having more sustainable careers. A lot of guys transition to safety as they get up there in their careers because they are not capable of still holding it down that way. We've got NFL news?
We do. Ian Rappaport reports that the Bears and second-round defensive tackle Shamar Turner have agreed to terms on his 4-year rookie contract. So potentially this second-round logjam is getting moving.
All right, come on, Femi. Let's just get it done. I don't want to have to think about rookies not having signed their deal. I don't want a Shamar Stewart situation. I don't think that would be an issue. But I don't want anything that's going to drag into camp. I just want as much distilled, or rather undistilled, football as humanly possible, and let's keep the bureaucratic stuff and the administrative stuff out of it as much as we can, provided that he gets a fair deal.
Yes. But going back to Sneed, it was not good in those 5 games in that small sample size he had last year. I mean, he was matched up with DJ Moore a lot week 1, which DJ Moore is no slouch, and I don't think DJ Moore had a great day statistically because Caleb Williams only threw for like 96 yards, but Sneed wasn't necessarily the best in coverage that day. I also remember against the Colts week 5, I believe, at home, Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman
ate him up,
giving him fits. Pierce would have had him for a touchdown, a deep ball. Flacco hadn't overthrown it, and I believe he gave up that one to Pittman on the jump ball. So it was just very disappointing, obviously. Injuries suck, and they happen to everybody.
Yeah, but he was bad when he wasn't injured.
But yes, exactly. That's the point.
Because I see a comment here from Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones on YouTube. Thank you for pity laughing there.
No, I thought that was pretty good, actually.
Okay. How can you say, Mike Jones on YouTube says, how can you say that when he's been hurt, give the man a chance? Why wouldn't he live up to his contract? Because I saw him play before he was hurt.
Exactly.
And I know it's 5 games, but his overall grade in 5 games, and it's just Pro Football Focus, but Pro Football Focus is a great way to be able to measure these things. His overall grade as a coverage player was 36.8, 209th out of 222 qualified corners. Based on he played enough games to be graded out that much. There are players that are worse than him. There are not many players that were worse than him. But to Ross's point, he was not who they paid for when he was healthy. He got hurt in that Colts game and then missed the rest of the year. But please, 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 don't sit there and say, how can you say that when I'm saying we've probably seen the best of L'Jarius Sneed, and the best of L'Jarius Sneed was going to be in Kansas City? Because now he costs more. So now every misstep, every coverage mistake, every intercepted pass or deflected pass that could have been an interception or whatever the case may be, every little thing he does, every time he doesn't do what you fully expect a $17.6 million a year player to do, you're going to be on that guy's neck. So it's not even just that he may not be ever the player that he was in Kansas City, because he's not on as good a defense as he was in Kansas City. That matters too. But please don't sit there and tell me, oh, how can you not give him a chance? He was hurt. He wasn't hurt for those 5 games where he played piss poor. He knows that. They know that. Brian Callahan, those comments from him, that was at mandatory minicamp. And it wasn't a stinging indictment of L'Jarius Sneed, but it was speaking to the effect of, we're waiting to see the player that we know he has been in his past. They didn't get it in those 5 games. I don't have a problem with you being optimistic. I don't have a problem with you holding out hope. I am happy to be proven wrong by L'Jarius Sneed. But again, it's not about what I'm rooting for or against here. It's what the percentages tell you is likely to happen here. And by percentage chance, we are probably not going to see L'Jarius Sneed ever be a better player in Tennessee than he was in Kansas City. I just don't think it's possible.
I would say one caveat to that maybe he doesn't have to be. I mean, if Jarvis Brownlee can continue progressing, which I know is asking a lot potentially this year, but he had some signs last year.
There's a good player.
I like the safeties we have now, adding Xavier Woods and then drafting Kevin Winston. Obviously, he needs to get healthy, but secondary is really kind of a team, group effort. Like safeties can cover up for corners' mistakes a lot of the time, honestly, and maybe we don't need him to be that number one corner necessarily that has to travel with guys like, Justin Jefferson or whoever we might face on a schedule and
sure.
Them.
I'm not saying that you can't still have a better secondary than you did last year. And also your special teams doesn't have to nuke you and give you short field position and make it so easy that you can lead the league in passing defense and still be one of the worst scoring defenses in football because teams just don't have to throw the ball very far on you, a la, what was that game? That was the Lions game where Goff, I think, it took him till like the fourth quarter to break 100 yards passing and had like 5 touchdown passes. It was an embarrassment. And special teams was a huge part of that. That's something they're also hoping to rectify. But if you think for 1 second that L'Jarius Sneed isn't a disappointment, if he can't live up to what you're describing, to be that number one corner, what are you paying him for?
Yeah, it's fair.
I get what you're saying. You can still field a competitive defense if Sneed's not the best version of himself. If he's above average, even if he's average, you've got enough pieces and parts there to play with to hedge your bets, but it doesn't make the contract any better. It doesn't make the decision any better. It doesn't justify his situation if he can just be a small part of it, as opposed to being, they were supposed to build a foundation on some of these players that they brought in last year. And L'Jarius Sneed, as a foundational piece, is about as reliable as the degenerative knee condition that he came in here with. That doesn't cut it. That's a failure. Until such time, and even if he gets to average to slightly above, that's still a failure to me. Because he is paid to be one of the best cornerbacks in football, and he has fallen remarkably short. And I'm not even talking about the off the field decision stuff that's got him in a lawsuit, an ongoing lawsuit that was filed 3 months ago.
Well, I would say week 2, potentially week 1, but week 2, when the likes of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams come to Nashville, we will certainly see how he's progressed in the offseason, shall we say.
Provided that he's even out there. I know he said it at his youth camp that he's as healthy as he's ever been, but like, what the hell does that mean to me? I don't care about what he did in Kansas City. It's like Cam Ward's mini document. I don't care about what it was that got you to this point. I care about what you do when you get here.
Well, and the NFL is a what have you done for me lately type of league business.
Mike Jones is back in the chat, says Sneed will be on the field week 1. Damn sure better be.
I like that optimism, Mike Jones.
That's any kind of Sneed will be on the field week 1. He better be. You're paying him to play football, and he doesn't do much of that lately, and when he does, he's been bad. The amount of simping for these, and I get people want to be optimistic, but I cannot stand the simping for players that underperform or people that underperform or organizations that fall as short as this one has lately. Their decision-making has put them in this mess, and now they're having to dig themselves out of it. If Snead wants to be a part of the solution, I welcome the opportunity to watch that and cover that, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Do you want to move to receivers before you blow a gasket?
God, I did that whole 20 minutes on just bitching about Snead. It's just frustrating.
Yeah.
We can do receivers later. What do we got next?
Yeah, SB, Shane Gillis.
Do I want to do ESPYs or do I want to do wide receivers? Yeah, we'll talk about the ESPYs.
Figuring this out just live right now.
What do you think the show is? I've been on the air for 4 hours already today. The fact that I'm even prepared to do 3 more hours, that's an upset. We'll talk about the ESPYs. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Lake lovers, listen up. Tennessee National Lakefront Resort Golf and Marina Community is releasing a brand new phase of lake lots. One day only, Saturday, July 26th. You can get a cottage package with a boat slip from $359,900, a 1.5-acre lake lot with covered boat slip from $99,900. Move-in ready homes with a free upgraded outdoor kitchen, $30,000 off. Private golf cart access to a new marina and resort, 10 miles of walking trails, 3.5 miles of shoreline, a brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse, waterfront concerts, pickleball, pools, on-site coffee shop, and much more. Play on the lake or simply relax at the waterfront restaurant just over 20 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available, so celebrate the lake life and make memories. This limited property release, Saturday, July 26th. Visit TennesseeNational.com or call 865-408-9992. That's 865-408-9992 to secure your private tour. Memories begin here at Tennessee National. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. So, the ESPYs last night, slow time in sports, unless you want to talk about regular season baseball. That's not a strength of ours around here, so we typically do avoid talking about regular season baseball. And even that is on a break right now, having played the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby, all the All-Star festivities throughout the course of the week. But I have never sat down and watched the ESPYs. I did last night for the first time ever. Now, I don't have anything necessarily against the ESPYs. I just, on principle, when I've seen the way that some of these clips go around and I see how bad the audience is, and when I mean how bad the audience is, I mean how much athletes can't take jokes about themselves. I have no interest in watching that. The championships are incredible. The feats on the field, on the court, on the pitch, whatever the case may be, whatever the sport may be, awesome. Very rarely are athletes, and I don't even mean to typecast athletes. I'm sure you could flesh this out to, for example, my business. There's plenty of people. Maybe I'm not the best person to speak from example, but there's plenty of people that have outrageous, unearned egos. Who said that? When it comes to what we do for a living, even more so than me. I've got my own level of ego to deal with, but like there are people that take these jobs way too seriously. Hell, people get mad at us because we don't take it very seriously because we just want to have fun screwing around talking about sports.
You can tell it's July.
Yeah, well, those idiots can, sit on the fat end of a baseball bat and spin.
Okay.
Respectfully.
No, there's no way to make that respectful.
That's the point. Now, there's also no way to make Shane Gillis' monologue respectful, which delighted me last night. Because the reason I sat down to watch the ESPYs was because Shane Gillis was the host. Shane Gillis is... So I didn't know who he was. And this is something that Robert or Lucas would find me for. Have the button ready. He was at Lawan's Beer Olympics a couple of years ago. This was 2 or 3 years ago.
And who else was there?
Oh, Bert Kreischer, Mike Chandler, Quentin Nelson, George Kittle, DeForest Buckner. Who else am I missing? There's a bunch of Barstool people I didn't know. Yeah, that's fine. But I didn't know who Shane Gillis was. And this respectfully, portly, that is respectful. I could have called him fat, but I said portly. This chunky dude hanging out, getting choked out in the pool by Lawan. I didn't know who he was. I don't watch stand-up comedy like that. And then after, some people saw some stuff on social media, some friends of mine were like, you were at a pool party with Shane Gillis? Who? Okay, that's fair. But I didn't know who he was, and then I see him pop up. Like, I recognize the face. I see him pop up more and more and more. And I see him, he gets his own TV show on Netflix. It's called Tires. I see him, he's got Netflix specials or comedy specials popping up in a bunch of different places. He's in movies. He's a Notre Dame fan, so he's popping up a lot around the college football stuff. He's on game day making fun of Nick Saban. What do you call him? Alabama Jones?
Alabama Jones.
Alabama Jones is so good. But like sports, respects athletes, but not to the point where he's scared to make fun of him. Like to make fun of Nick Saban to his face, I don't care who you are. Balls.
Stones.
You know what I'm saying?
Stones.
Like balls. So this guy, Shane Gillis, he's had a star turn. And I've watched his comedy specials since I've started to see him pop up more and more, and I enjoy him. He's funny. Shocking to nobody. So when I see that he's hosting the ESPYs and having been familiar with his work, I'm like, oh, that's not going to go well at all. I definitely want to watch this. This is going to be a train wreck. Because the most self-serious people in the world are professional athletes. And I respect them. I work with them on a regular basis. But come on, guys and gals, you got to take a joke. The amount of non-laughter that Shane Gillis's hilarious monologue got last night was enough to just tickle me to death. Can we play it?
Donald Trump wants to stage a UFC fight on the White House lawn. The last time he staged a fight in D.C., Mike Pence almost died. All right. You don't have to do that. It was fine. I didn't write it. Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but I guess it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that. The New York Knicks had a great season. Yeah, hell yeah. Karl Anthony Towns is here. Hey, girl. Max Crosby is here. Max, I hope you had a good Juneteenth, brother.
Max Crosby. I didn't hear that one.
Well, that guy's weird. Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players.
Awesome.
That's crazy. You clap for that. Simone Biles is here. Yeah, hell yeah. It's not bad. Simone Biles is 4'8" and has 7 gold medals. She's short and has a lot of gold. When she's not competing, she leads a quiet life at the base of a rainbow. It's a leprechaun joke.
That's all right.
If you tell Simone a riddle and she can't answer it, she has to give you all of her gold medals. That was the best one. Joe Rogan actually wanted me to be here to host this award show so that I could capture Adam Silver because Joe thinks he's an alien. Uh-oh. And Donald Trump wanted me to be here to capture Juan Soto for the same reason. It's an alien joke. Who booed up there, dude? Shut up. Aaron Rodgers did not take the vaccine because he predicted it would be bad for him. And then he joined the New York Jets. So maybe he wasn't right about everything. Shador Sanders had his jersey number retired at Colorado this year, and people are saying it's because of nepotism, because of his father, and it's not. It's because he went 13-12 over his career, and he almost won the Alamo Bowl. Definitely not nepotism, right? All right.
So good.
It's a big year for the WNBA. I love Caitlin Clark. Yeah, hell yeah. Caitlin Clark, she and I have a lot in common. We're both whites from the Midwest who have nailed a bunch of threes. All right. There you go. Lighten up a little. This is not serious. We'll see about this one. When Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at a Waffle House so she can continue doing what she loves most, fist-fighting black women. Yeah, hell yeah. Who yelled? Drewski? Thank you, bro. Oh, John Jones? Yeah. What are you, nut jobs over there? Hell yeah. Shohei Ohtani couldn't make it tonight. Man, I hope his interpreter didn't bet that he was going to be here. Shohei is a once-in-a-generation talent. No one's been able to do what he does at so many positions, pitcher, hitter, and bookie. A bookie is what Bill Belichick reads to his girlfriend before bedtime. They do. They read The Very Horny Caterpillar, The Little Engine That Could But Needed a Pill First, and of course, the classic Goodnight Boobs. That was my favorite one. Also, I'm not trashing Bill Belichick. First off, he's 73 years old and he's dating a hot 24-year-old and people are criticizing him? What happened to this country? It used to be a great country. He won 6 Super Bowls. Yeah. He's dating a hot 24-year-old. Maybe if you guys won 6 Super Bowls, you wouldn't be sitting next to a fat, ugly dog wife.
That crowd was so awful.
It was horrible.
Awful. Like, how miserable of a person do you have to be to not be able to laugh at that joke?
I think people get in those settings and they start looking at who they're sitting around. They're like, can I laugh at this or
Get
not?
over it.
Exactly.
Get over it. It's so weird because, like, especially athletes who have podcasts now, I swear to God, half of Luan and Compton's podcasts are interviewing comedians. I feel like that's a popular, like, connection for comedians and athletes to, to home and home with the podcast or whatever media venture that they're doing. But when you're the subject of the joke, it's too hot, you can't laugh at it.
I also saw a tweet that said something like Shane Gillis's monologue was like the boys' group chat every day.
That's what I'm saying. He's just getting up there and riffing. It's as much fun as I've had listening to somebody do that in a sports setting I don't know. And I think the ESPYs are miserable because the athletes make it miserable. It doesn't have to be so stuffy. Y'all aren't out there curing cancer, respectfully. I know you're raising money for it with the Jimmy V Foundation. I know that's part of it, but, like, come on. The Lee Corso thing was lovely. The rest of it, it's a circle jerk for all the different things that you've been able to accomplish. Are the championships not enough? Can you not laugh a little bit after the fact? The fact that those people who operate at the highest heights of their profession cannot just sit there and have a little fun because, you're wearing a tux and it's the ESPYs. Well, give a damn about the ESPYs. The ESPYs, if not for Shane Gillis, are the worst award ceremony out there. And there's plenty of pretentious, miserable, self-righteous, rigid award shows out there that are just completely unrelatable and not an enjoyable product. Thank God for Shane Gillis making that fun last night.
But also to your point, like, this is in the middle of the offseason. It's not like this is the NFL honors where some guys there might have just lost in the playoffs a few weeks before. Like, everyone should be happy right now. It should be a little looser.
And, like, if the political stuff bothers you, get over it.
Seriously.
I mean, get the hell over yourself. If Biden was still in the White House, there'd be Biden jokes. If Trump's in the White House, there's going to be Trump jokes. The Juan Soto illegal alien joke is hilarious. It's problematic, but it's hilarious.
The guy that booed, he said, shut up.
Shut up. Like, just shut the hell up. Thank God for Shane Gillis. I hope they bring him back. Annual ESPYs host. Maybe at some point, these stiff, miserable people will loosen up a little bit.
Gillis 2028.
Yeah, I mean, at this point. Stephen A. Smith, Shane Gillis ticket? Why not? The collective sigh from the back room. 615-737-1045. All right, SEC Media Day is going on. One big thing. We'll talk about Arkansas and Missouri coming up next. If you are somebody that works from home and you work remotely from home, your power goes out. It happens more and more lately. There's no need to compromise with Mother Nature anymore, and that's because Premier Generators is here. It could be the smartest investment that you make. Let the experts at Premier Generators help you out. They know their craft inside and out and will ensure the best generator for your own unique needs. Premier Generators is the largest certified generator dealer in Tennessee, always offering a 10-year warranty on all generators. The consultation is free, so what are you waiting for? Contact them today at premiergenerators.com. That's premiergenerators.com, or the number, it's real easy to remember, at Premier Generators, where they are there to serve you on a regular basis. The number is 1-855-797-4766. That's 1-855-797-4766. Premier Generators.
Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnston. SEC Media Days wrap up today with Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, and Texas A&M set to speak. 3HL will be there live to keep you covered for the final day with exclusive interviews. The Titans have added backfield depth this morning by signing running back Jordan Mims to a 2-year deal. Mims comes from playing the last 2 years with the New Orleans Saints. Another piece of NFL news, the Washington Commanders last night signed free agent outside linebacker Von Miller. Terms are not yet known, but the 8-time Pro Bowler will be headed to D.C. Also, Adam Schefter has just reported that a Dallas County judge has sentenced Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice to 5 years probation and 30 days jail time for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas during the 2024 offseason. Nashville SC got back on the winning track last night, beating Columbus 3-0 at home. Sam Surge took back the lead for the Golden Boot race with his 17th goal this season, which came in the 82nd minute. Goalkeeper Joe Willis also had 4 saves, which resulted in his 8th shutout of the season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour on this Thursday. We're happy to have you. We've got SEC Media Days ongoing in Atlanta. In fact, the last day of SEC Media Days. 3HL down there doing a great job. Do we know who's on 3HL this afternoon?
I don't believe we know today.
All right. Well done by you. Either way, their coverage is made possible by Brian's Motorsports and Medical House Calls. They've had everybody from Vanderbilt, everybody from Tennessee. They've had Lenora Sellers. They've had Greg Sankey. They've had Shane Beamer. I know Dawn has been trying to nail down Lane Kiffin. I don't know if that has manifested. That would have been yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
They spoke the first day, so I doubt they're still in Atlanta.
Okay. Lane Kiffin escapes again without having to enter the boom boom room. Just an awkward Paul Feinbaum interview, the annual awkward Paul Feinbaum interview.
Love that new rivalry.
What, Feinbaum and Kiffin?
Yeah.
Is it a rivalry? And it's certainly not new, God knows. I mean, Feinbaum's been on Lane Kiffin's neck since he's been at Tennessee.
That's true, but Kiffin did call him out on his show. I believe, was that last year, maybe, when he did that?
Yes. And you know, they create these awkward back and forths that are delightful, and I think both of them enjoy it a little bit. Feinbaum's, far be it from me to be critical of anything, but given that Feinbaum is like one of the godfathers of our industry, but like his cadence is so kind of weird sometimes that it's almost impossible to not make those interviews awkward. And maybe that's just the way that he conducts his show. Maybe that's what he's going for, to try and get those moments out of there. But Lane Kiffin and Paul Feinbaum, they're definitely an odd couple, but I enjoy every time they sit down on a desk together. Now, Ole Miss was on day one. Today, it is Arkansas, Missouri, Texas A&M, and Kentucky. We did not get to Alabama yesterday. We will get to Alabama today in the noon hour, given that Lucas thinks they could win the SEC this year. But let me hear one big thing on the Arkansas Razorbacks and embattled head coach Sam Pittman.
The one big thing for Arkansas football in 2025 is to figure out what the standard is in the Sam Pittman era. Sam Pittman is the definition of a vibes coach, right? Everybody loves him. He was a beloved offensive line coach and a good one, a successful one for years and years in his career, and then got this head coaching opportunity at Arkansas in his 60s, a rare thing today in the SEC. And you saw a bit of a spike early on in that tenure, that 9-win season in 2021. Just slowly tailed off since then, and they had yet another Liberty Bowl win last year coming off of a 7-win season. So if you're Arkansas football, you got to figure out, are you okay with that? Are you okay to continue down the path of just 7-win seasons and everybody likes your head coach because he's a big, funny personality? That's the big question for me for a program that we've seen be in the top 5 and win 10 games a year. Now, Taylon Green, the quarterback, has an opportunity to take a big year 2 leap. A lot of times with these transfer quarterbacks, year 2 is when they take that big leap forward. You know, to cite some extreme examples, Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow come to mind. Not saying that's what Taylon Green has to be, but he's got to take a big step under Bobby Petrino for this team team to be competitive because they do lose some significant talent, including, of course, the edge rusher, Landon Jackson, who was a nightmare off the edge last year. Tough schedule. You got to go to Memphis. That is not a gimme of a non-conference game. You host Notre Dame. You go to Ole Miss, go to Tennessee, go to LSU, go to Texas. So Arkansas could very well be right down that path of 7 or so wins. And honestly, that wouldn't be a terrible achievement given their schedule. But if you're Arkansas football, you got to figure out, is that good enough in the Sam Pittman era?
It's a great question. That Tennessee upset last year at Arkansas was huge for them. But obviously the rest of the season didn't go to plan, as Lucas pointed out there. Sam Pittman, I mean, the hiring of Bobby Petrino almost felt like the writing on the wall. If you had to have a situation where you could just slide one out and slide the other into that role, Bobby Petrino already being on campus, already having that history at Arkansas, I don't know what Pittman's, I mean, other than Bobby Petrino has had success as an SEC, as a college football coordinator, not just in the SEC. You have to, that's kind of a desperation measure, it feels a little bit, because you know Bobby Petrino, at least one would think, based on his history, would not be opposed to, sliding back in on the big seat.
Yeah. You mean the motorcycle seat?
No, less motorcycle rides for Bobby Petrino.
I just want Arkansas to be good. I like Sam Pittman. I just want to be able to hear him say he wants to go home to a nice old cold beer every weekend, every Saturday. I always look forward to that.
I have more harsh feelings towards Sam Pittman. And Dawn talked to me about this on, when were they on, the three of them? Was that Tuesday?
I believe so.
I think it was Tuesday. Because I interviewed Sam Pittman the week after the Titans drafted Isaiah Wilson. And Sam Pittman was the offensive line coach at Georgia. And everything that I've heard about this human being is that he's a wonderful person to be around, that he's a good football coach, certainly a good offensive line coach. And it was just such the opposite of what Sam Pittman described in that interview, what Isaiah Wilson ended up being at the pros. Maybe that was not Sam Pittman's experience at Georgia with Isaiah Wilson. I tried to not hold that against him too much, but I just felt like I was blatantly lied to about the player that the Titans drafted by this man who was the former offensive line coach. I don't think Sam Pittman meant to be disingenuous that way. I just think Isaiah Wilson was a hot mess that nobody could have predicted. God knows the Titans wouldn't have done that if they felt that there was anything like that coming down the line.
Did you say that was an interview you had with him?
Yeah,
Was that like a public interview type of thing?
Yeah, it was.
So did you expect him to just slander his own player?
No, but I'm just trying to get a gauge for what it was, who it was. And like Pittman went so out of his way to talk about what a hard worker and all these different things. And then, months after the fact, you revisit that interview. You'll talk about that fat slob that got drunk at margarita night, decided to do donuts on Charlotte Pike and fall asleep in meetings, wreck Hellcats all over the place. And we just know there's ones that are reported on and ones that the public never found out about.
I'm just surprised that happened with the Titans and not at Georgia. Because, Georgia's...
Sure, Georgia's history. I saw a stat, a graphic yesterday. It's obviously,
the wins graphic.
Yeah, how many wins he's had versus how many arrests he's had. Kirby Smart in the last couple of years is like 24 arrests to 22 wins.
And he's had a lot of wins.
Yeah, no, it's not like Georgia's down bad or anything like that. Can't keep up with the amount of arrests Georgia football players seem to have when they're in a motor vehicle. So Isaiah Wilson on the forefront of that, he just brought that to Tennessee instead of maybe, I don't know if he got away with it in Athens or just, didn't have that problem in Athens or whatever. So all that to say, Sam Pittman, very much well regarded in every place that he's been. I would not be surprised to see him as one of the first coaches in the SEC fired. I think Brian Kelly's going to get the full year, and I bet Brian Kelly's still around even if they don't make the playoff. Mark Stoops at Kentucky is another name that comes up. We talked about Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. They're the worst program in the SEC. Their projected win total is 3.5. I don't think there's another name on... Oh, Billy Napier. Billy Napier at Florida. We also talked about that yesterday. Pittman feels right around the same Jeff Lebby, Mark Stoops kind of conversation because Arkansas football has standards. Kentucky football never had standards prior to Mark Stoops. Now that they do, they're tired of Mark Stoops, which I get. That's fine. But Arkansas football is so to your point about just wanting to see them be good again and to see Sam Pittman, be able to enjoy these things and just have an ice cold beer and whatever other good old boy sayings he's got, because I know he's got a few. I don't think Arkansas fans are going to take this for much longer. I don't think the administration is going to take this for much longer. The game against Tennessee here, or I guess at Neyland, not here, but in Tennessee, that's going to be one of the biggest games for both of those programs, because winning that Arkansas game, handling an opponent that you should be better than and are in a better position than, even though you're trying to figure out your quarterback situation, like Arkansas football should not be the kind of problem that Tennessee football seems to make it. All right. One big thing on Missouri. Speaking of things that are annoying, let's hear about Eli Drinkwitz.
One big thing for Missouri football and Eli Drinkwitz in 2025 is that this is the hard part. Vibes are good with Missouri football. Back-to-back double-digit win seasons. That has not been done at Mizzou in quite some time. Obviously, they've had a talented roster on offense in recent years, but this is the hard part. You got to replace Luther Burden now. You've got to replace Theo Weiss. You've got to replace your quarterback, Brady Cook. So they brought in Bo Pribula out of Penn State. Highly regarded prospect, was at Penn State, was going to be the starter if Drew Aller had declared for the draft, but Aller comes back, so Pribula makes his way down to the SEC. Talented player who we saw in flashes last year and some packages in that Penn State offense, but he is reportedly locked into a battle with Sam Horn, who is a highly regarded prospect in his own right. So it'll be interesting to see who emerges out of that QB competition, but Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz have the challenge of replacing that core, especially on offense, that helped you get to that place of back-to-back 10-win seasons, of beating Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl a couple of years ago. And Missouri, to their credit, did it again with 10 wins, including a bowl win last year right here in Nashville in the Music City Bowl against Iowa. So for Missouri football, can they put together an offense that relied heavily on the transfer portal, that brought in some experienced and productive receivers, including the lead receiver out of Mississippi State coming over from Starkville? I think this defense is going to be pretty good. It was a top 20 group last year, and they return 7 out of 11 starters, and they also bring in some high-quality transfers, guys that would start almost anywhere. Josiah Trotter was the Big 12 Freshman of the Year defensively out of West Virginia, the linebacker, and Jalen Catalon is a really talented player, former Arkansas and UNLV safety back in the SEC. I think this defense is going to be pretty good. Can Bo Pribula or whoever puts together this Missouri offense and wins that starting quarterback job rise to the challenge? And it helps that their schedule is favorable. Your biggest non-conference challenge is Kansas at home in week 2. By the way, love that rivalry is getting renewed in 2025. And your SEC slate has you hosting your toughest opponents like Alabama and Texas A&M. And your road trips include Auburn and Oklahoma and Arkansas, Vanderbilt. Obviously never gimmies, but compared to some of the schedules we've talked about, it is certainly favorable. Vibes are good with Missouri football, but this is the tough part. Can you replace those groups that got you to the heights that you're currently sitting at? But I think they've done a nice job in the portal. We'll see how it turns out.
Jesus, Lucas, how much Missouri football information did you try to shove in there? The sick part about him, I mean, of course he'd rather be in Brazil on the beach with Megan than he would be working. But like the amount of joy that he gets out of SEC media days when there's really nothing going on, it's a bunch of coaches not really saying anything, but like this man, I don't respect Lucas in a lot of ways, but I do have tremendous respect for how much he seems to enjoy that. I don't think anybody could have squeezed more out of Missouri football than Lucas Pansica just did there.
That was phenomenal. It's about the same length as his one big thing on Alabama.
Well, we'll get to Alabama later. We also have, who else do we have in the tank? We have
Kentucky and Texas A&M in here as well.
Kentucky and Texas A&M. So we'll get to those 3 later on in the show. Missouri, as far as what it looks like in 2025, that stretch of home for Alabama, at Auburn, at Vandy is an interesting game.
It is, but
it's late in the season, and the way that Pavia plays, like, I'm so curious to see if he's going to be actually healthy for a full year.
To Lucas's point in his comments, actually, I do think they have about as favorable an SEC schedule that you could expect to have this season.
Yeah. Their SEC opponents are home South Carolina, home Alabama, at Auburn, at Vandy, home Texas A&M, home Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, at Arkansas. It's probably the most maneuverable SEC schedule out there. Florida's got a pretty decent or not super threatening one either.
I still don't think people will expect them to beat Alabama at home. But again, if that's your toughest team on paper and you have them at home, I think probably second worst would be going to Oklahoma late in the season.
I wonder why they already have a kickoff time for that. An 11 a.m. kickoff between Alabama and Missouri.
Do they flex college times on Saturdays? Like, could that get moved?
I don't know the answer to that. I feel like they should be able to, but I don't know definitively. I don't want to speak incorrectly there. All right, let's talk a little. What?
I don't think they'd flex that anyways.
I don't think they would either. Let's talk a little bit about Cam Ward. Jeff Simmons was on Good Morning Football, I believe, this morning, talking about the fact that he thinks they've got one. He also said the same thing about Will Levis. We'll see what he has to say about Cam Ward coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Ross was combing through the music catalog because he thinks my energy is lacking.
I wanted something loud. This kind of disappointed me a little bit. But
Don't ever say that about our beloved Creed.
I thought it was going to be the full Ken. I'm not going to do it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, sing.
I don't think
Go
I
ahead.
can.
That'll lift my spirits. That'll raise my energy level. You think that I'm slacking today? Go ahead, sing.
I don't think I can reach those tones with these vocal cords.
You can't take me higher?
I cannot.
All right, very good. Yeah, I've heard your sports updates, bud. I'm glad that you can just slightly break out of the monotone for 5 seconds.
Look, it's been this way for about a decade now.
I feel like given what the workday has been already, I feel like I got pretty good energy. Like I feel like I still got a little bit of juice. We'll see what the next hour and a half looks like.
Well, there's a little
Because we're at the halfway point of the show. Well, because you've pissed me off.
Good. Let's go. I was waiting on something. It's sad that that's what it takes.
No, it's a problem that comes up in therapy and with my doctor about my blood pressure. Is the best version of the show is when I'm pissed. So
I bet you didn't do this on Fox this morning.
No, I was upset at Fox, or I wasn't upset at Fox. I was upset generally because we had some connection issues that weren't any of their fault. It was probably my fault. But
Brady, I'm too tired.
no, I ripped ESPN up and down for the ESPYs. I went at Fitzy for calling. I want to make sure that I categorize this correctly because we were talking about the state of college athletics. And Fitzy said that the people that are trying to uphold the traditions of college football specifically are slop, and that they're going to be left behind, and that we don't need them because college football is going to continue on whether you like it or not. And I did not like how he characterized that, so I yelled at him a little bit about that. Other than that, we're hanging out.
Again, as we said yesterday, you have no variance. There's just one buck rising, and that's what we get.
I got one speed, baby.
I think it would help if you switch that up every now and then, but
it just doesn't seem to be in my personality or in my abilities. I don't know.
You work on that. I'll work on my vocal inflection.
What has a better chance of changing, your vocal inflection or my attitude?
The odds on that are about even.
Yeah, I would say. You're losing money either way. Brandon Tyler wants to, can we add Simps for Titans to Buck's merch line? Because I accused somebody in the chat of simping for bad football and bad organizations and football players that you want to be good, but they're not actually good, in reference to L'Jarius Sneed. I want to make sure that I clarify that because there's nothing wrong with being an optimistic fan. Before we get ready to talk about Cam Ward, and you're going to hear Jeff Simmons' optimism about Cam Ward from Good Morning Football today. But I do get very much bothered by people who make excuses for bad organizations, for people who make excuses for bad players. Not like explanations. There are explanations and there are excuses. And I feel too often, and maybe it's just a product of covering this specific team, and it's not the majority of the fan base. The majority of the fan base is fed up with it. They're tired of bad football. They've checked out. And when there's a reason to get excited again, let me know, and I'll check back in, right? That's been the majority of the fan base. That's reasonable. That's nuanced. There's nothing wrong with that. But the people that come out of the woodwork and just try and defend how bad they have been, or make excuses for them, or try to say, well, you're not giving them a fair shake, when all they do is trip and fall back asswards over themselves in the last 4 years. And even worse so last year. That is simping. That's not being a fan. That's making excuses for them. And that, I don't understand it. For what? You should be holding them more accountable than I do.
I think part of being a good fan is being a rational fan as well, and, taking things for what they are. Obviously, the offseason, there's naturally more optimism than when you're in the middle of a 3-14 season, as we were last year. But
is it?
Yes, I've been with this team since the LP Field days. I've seen some dark days, so last year was nothing new to me, but it still was not fun nonetheless.
Oh, I see. I think I've gotten Lucas out of the we thing. Robert is always going to be we when he's talking about the Ravens.
It's just in my nature.
Okay, so but you're a Duke fan, not a Vols fan, and a Titans fan.
Told you I broke out of the Tennessee indoctrination when I was being raised.
So you decided instead for the Titans?
Well, yeah.
That's crazy.
Die hard, baby.
Yeah,
Die hard.
Love that for you. Speaking of things that are much more fun, the Williamson County Fair, Summer Nights and Fair Delights. How about that? They even rhymed it for me in the copy. At the 21st Annual Williamson County Fair, 9 days of fun, rides, food, and family entertainment, August 1st through the 9th. And they have chances for you to win tickets right here on 104.5 The Zone. Listen all week long to win or sign up online at 1045thezone.com/contest. The chat is also exposing you for being how young that you are because, of course, it has not always been LP Field. It was first the Coliseum, Adelphia Coliseum. So the diehards, the real old school people, the people that have been there since literally day one, they are now crushing you in the chat.
That's fair. And again, I would like to say, was not my choice when I was born. Couldn't decide that at all. Also, moved to Nashville in 2010, so sue me if you want to.
All right.
I'm just saying, since I've been here,
Don't
been
get defensive. Don't get defensive. It's okay.
You got me fired up now.
Is that what you sound like, fired up? My God.
I told you, we're in a race here to change.
Let me listen to Jeff Simmons talk about Cam Ward on Good Morning Football, huh?
And listen, you guys have the #1 pick overall in Cam Ward. I'm high on him. He has not been getting the attention he deserves throughout the whole entire offseason, but you've got a chance to see him up close and personal. What are some things that you've seen from him that you're excited for everyone else to see?
First off, I think that our team, Tennessee Titans, never get the respect and attention we need. I never seen the #1 pick overall never get the respect and, quite frankly, the attention that he deserved. I went to minicamp and, first off, I met Cam for the first time. It was at a private birthday party that Saturday before the minicamp, the week before minicamp. And we met, and of course, we were talking a little smack then. I was like, I heard you've been slicing my guys up. You've been talking smack. I said, I'm going to bring that to you, too, now. Like, I talk smack. We started there, and then just to be able to get that relationship with him off the field, we chopped it up for a long time. We talked about fishing and things that he liked to do off the field. I think that's what mattered the most for me, is especially young guys trying to gain that relationship with guys off the field to make them feel comfortable. We know that Cam Ward going to have to play football for this season, and it's my goal and my job to, help him out. Going to year 7, I think I've been the longest tenured Titans, with Tennessee, just to try to make him feel at home from a vet. It's crazy to say that now that, year 7, a vet. But it's been unbelievable with his, I'm sure you guys saw it, but Cam Ward went to, it was at minicamp, and, it was out there play. We stopped him. I think I ended up getting a sack, and all of a sudden we talking smack, and Callie gave him the dang play, and I'm like, I'm still talking smack to him. I'm joined because that's my game. Like, I want to talk smack to you. I want to get in your head. It didn't faze him. He's still talking smack while Callie getting the play to him. Still talking smack. Callie getting the play. He giving the play to the offense. Still talking smack to me. And I'm like, I give him the play. And literally, when he gave him that play that came through the line, the next play, after the smack talk, he threw an 80-yard bomb to Kevin Ridley. So that just the swagger. That right there showed me, like, we got us one. He's legit, and and I think where we at right now with, like I said, him not getting enough praise, and like I said, who is not known with that #1 pick overall don't get the attention and the praise that he deserved. But I think that's a chip on his shoulder. You could tell the way he go about his bit and his swagger, his demeanor. This is gonna be one of the ones that I'm excited to see. I'm excited to get back to Camp Wood next week, to be more around him and to learn a little more about him. But, it's been unbelievable to get to know him. We're supposed to be going fishing. We've been talking a little smack, too, off the field with fishing. I don't think nobody in that locker room can outfish me, but he think he can. So we're going to make sure we get that test one of the off days during training.
So that's Jeff Simmons' appearance on Good Morning Football, I believe, earlier this morning.
Yes.
Okay, so how much credence do you put in what Jeff Simmons is saying about Cam Ward? Because famously, in the middle of that Falcons game, while Will Levis is throwing 4 touchdowns, Jeff's going viral on the sidelines because he's screaming, "That's Will damn Levis! We got..." Basically, not obviously as energized in that clip as he was that day on the sidelines, and it's easy to get caught up in the air, but how much credence do you actually put into what Jeff's saying? I think there's a lot to be said about the demeanor that Cam carries himself with. We've talked a great deal about that. There's no reason to question his work ethic. He's been somebody who goes in, busts his ass, takes command, everywhere that he's been, all the way up throughout the course of his collegiate career and all 3 different stops, and seeing him for about a month and a half at practice, whether it's rookie minicamp, voluntary stuff, or into OTAs, I've got no indication that he's anything but the real deal. It's Cam Ward, and this was an interesting exercise that I saw Austin Stanley and them from A to Z Sports in the morning doing the other day about what it would take for Cam Ward to crack next year's top 10 quarterback list. Because, did you see where Jaden Daniels is ranked after 1 year?
5th?
He's 5th, which is nonsense. I mean, that's insane. That's 1 year sample size, and there's going to be a lot of adjustments. C.J. Stroud, I'm sure, was on that list after year 1, too, and he's nowhere to be found on the top 10 quarterback list all of a sudden.
So, Jaden Daniels could find himself potentially in the same situation.
Sophomore slump comes for a lot of different people. He was also remarkably healthy last year for the way that he plays. Doesn't mean that he can't still be a top 10 quarterback. Doesn't mean that I'm down on Jaden Daniels or anything like that. I just see him on that list and it's like, okay, 1 year, we're really doing this? But that's all right. He's the number 2 overall pick. He was an excellent player last year. He got them to the NFC Championship game. He did it for Washington. That counts for bonus points, given how tortured that franchise has been in their history. What does Cam Ward have to do to be considered a top 10 player at his position after only his rookie year? Does he have to have the kind of season that Jaden Daniels did? Almost unprecedented among rookies. I would honestly think that he has to have a better season than Jaden Daniels because the Commanders matter to the NFL landscape and the Titans do not. If Jason Fitz has my partner over there on Fox Sports Radio when we do the national stuff, Fitzy also does stuff for Yahoo, and he came on the radio show a couple of weeks ago and he talked about Cam Ward being the most overlooked number 1 overall pick in the history of number 1 overall pick quarterbacks. And I understood the case for it. The franchise that he plays for compounds that. The Titans are never going to break out of that themselves. Cam Ward is going to have to break the Titans out of that. So I would argue that Jaden Daniels, the season that he had for Washington, Cam Ward would have to have a better season than arguably the best season I've seen from a rookie quarterback. I don't even think it's arguable for me. That's the best season I've seen from a rookie quarterback.
So do you mean he would have to make the Super Bowl or that he would just have better statistic numbers than Jaden Daniels did?
Well, it'd be tough for him to – Cam's not that kind of player in the run game, and that's obviously a huge part of Jaden Daniels' game.
The passing numbers, it would take a lot, but he could eclipse him if everything went right, I would say. I just don't know. I don't think our schedule this year for his rookie year allows him to be. Oh, my
God. You got to stop it with the hour and the we. It's going to drive me crazy.
I don't know if the schedule for the Titans this year will allow him to be a top 10 quarterback next year.
Did that hurt a little bit? Did that feel icky?
It hurt a little bit.
It's okay. So Jaden Daniels, 3,568 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, an overall QBR of 70.6. I need to find his rushing statistics as well because he was as impressive on the ground as anybody. He had, 148 carries for 891 yards, 6 additional touchdowns. He lost 3 fumbles. I didn't realize Jaden Daniels was sacked 47 times. That's kind of crazy that he was still able to produce that way. I'm sure some of those he created himself, but Cam Ward would have to have a more statistically impressive season than that. And also Cam Ward would have, if Cam Ward ended up in the AFC Championship game, he would be recognized that way. Jaden Daniels is recognized that way because he did the impossible for a franchise that's been godforsaken. So I don't know. If Cam got them to the playoffs, it would be a story. But, the Titans would not be the Titans would be relegated to that Saturday, middle of the day. It's almost the honorary AFC South wild card window where they just slap whatever AFC South team is playing in the playoffs in that window, and hopefully they get weeded out and we can actually talk about the good teams is the way that the NFL at large would view them.
Houston got that the last couple of years, did they not, with the Chargers and the Browns?
Perpetually. Yeah. That is the AFC South's honorary middle of the Saturday wild card window. Let's just put them somewhere, get them out of the way, and hope the better team advances. So it would be a story, obviously, if Cam Ward was able to do that. I still don't think he would get the recognition that Jaden Daniels is getting.
I think he could. I think he could if he got the Titans in the playoffs, just because.
Just in the playoffs? I disagree.
I only think so from the aspect, it almost like the Titans' lack of media coverage and everyone just knowing how bad they were last year would help him in that regard. If he was able to somehow propel this team to the playoffs in his rookie season from 3-14, I think that could get him in. I don't think it would be as high as Jaden Daniels. I just think that could get him in that 9-10 range potentially if he has the stats to back it up too.
We've been doing the most interesting storyline in every division, and I told you we were going to end with the AFC South. So since I'm on vacation starting tomorrow, we're going to do the AFC South. Is Cam Ward the most interesting storyline in the division?
You're on vacation starting today.
Buddy, I've been on vacation this entire show. After we got done with the Fox Sports stuff, I'm just like, oh. But you wouldn't know that. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Oh, it's the 11 o'clock hour, which means all of Hattie B's wonderful Middle Tennessee locations are open and available for you if you are in the middle of your lunch break. If you are preparing for your lunch break, you can do like Ross did yesterday. You can go and sample some of Hattie B's fine, incredible fare. It's the best hot chicken in the world, and not only do they have that on offer as well as all of their tremendous sides, but the Southern salad at Hattie B's, it cannot be beat. Among all the different things that are involved in the Southern salad, all I need to say are 2 words: cornbread croutons. You will not find those anywhere else. And in the middle of a Hattie B's salad, it simply cannot be beat. You can download the Hattie B's mobile app. You can get Hattie B's delivered to your doorstep, to your office, to your home. Wherever you are, Hattie B's is there to work for you, no matter if you're here in Middle Tennessee or any one of their other locations across this great country: Austin, Birmingham, Dallas, Vegas, Atlanta. Hattie B's, the best hot chicken in the world. Visit them online at hattieb.com. We've been previewing every division in the NFL, and we're at the home stretch. By the time I come back, Lucas gets back from Brazil, Robert, assuming he gets off his alleged deathbed. I've never had bronchitis, so I don't know. But I can't imagine it keeps you down for this long. I think he's been lying the entire time.
Did you not see him on StreamYard last night in the studio for primetime?
Did I not what? I'm sorry?
Did you not see him in the studio on StreamYard last night for primetime?
He just looked like he'd been asleep, which is usually how he looks by the time we get to primetime, whether that's chemically enhanced or
I
otherwise.
was going to say that's for different reasons, usually.
Yeah, he's harassing me about my trip to California for reasons that are, beyond his exhaustion or his sickness. Get out of here. Anyway, by the time the three of us allegedly get back together to do the radio show that we're supposed to do for 3 hours a day, it will be time for training camp because the good Dr. Kevin Dyson and Rhett Bryan will make this an actual professional radio product. Are you doing tomorrow too?
It's been going day by day, honestly.
Okay. Oh, that would be true Robert form.
I usually get the text at some time in the morning around my waking hours.
He'll wait until I'm gone to come back because he'll fear the harassment that awaits him on the other side.
Well, also, why is he still waking up this early? He's not coming in.
I just assume he's sleeping all throughout the course of the day and then waking up at odd hours.
That schedule's probably jacked this week.
But anyway, the division that we are going to finish with is the AFC South. What is the most interesting storyline in the AFC South? Now, Ross, we have typically gone around the room and submitted a storyline, but I did not prepare you for this, so if you don't have one, that's okay. I can take the lead here.
I got one.
Okay. Well, what's yours first, and then I can do mine.
It is not the number one pick in the draft, but the number, was he 2? I'm going to forget. Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Yes. I think how the Jaguars utilize Travis Hunter this year will be the most interesting thing. How much does he play on offense? How much does he play on defense? Do they try to milk him so he can play 90% of the snaps or 100 like he was doing at Colorado? I doubt that's possible, but I would like to see how they use him, and I'm under the impression that he will prioritize one position at a certain point during the season. So which position is that? Do they use him more on offense across from Brian Thomas or on defense?
The fact that Brian Thomas, by the way, is not in the top 10 wide receivers list, I was surprised by.
I'm not, but he's one I would very much expect to be in there going
next year.
Next year,
maybe it's too early. There's a lot of good wide receivers right now.
He did a lot with Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones.
Yeah, and that's saying something. Swept the Titans, God knows. Woof.
Don't make me relive that.
You relive that. You didn't have to go to Jacksonville in the middle of a tornado to cover a game between 2 3-win teams.
Where they had Will Levis knocking out the Jaguars mascot in the Jumbotron.
I mean, you want to talk about dysfunctional franchises. As bad as it gets with the Titans, the Jags are such a hold my beer franchise. But they are the most interesting storyline in the division. Yours is specific to Travis Hunter. Mine is the Jaguars at large, and it's more specific to Trevor Lawrence. They have the most ability here to upend the status quo. I don't think the Titans are going to be pushing the Texans for the playoffs this year. I would be surprised if the Titans are in the mix at the end of the year and they're in that hunt graphic and vying for a potential wild card spot. Maybe they come up a little bit short. That's a huge accomplishment for a team that won 3 games and was as diabolically bad as this football team was in 2024. That would be huge steps in the right direction. You can't microwave the results, though, with the Tennessee Titans, and there are still some things that they have to get right before you can consider them meaningfully competitive. But they can get closer to that this year. And again, it is insane that Trevor Lawrence was drafted in, 2021?
Yes.
That Trevor Lawrence was drafted in 2021, is on a second contract, is paid $55 million a year, and we still don't know what he is. Well, we know what he is. He's underachieving.
He has had one good stretch of football the last half of the 2022 season when they knocked the Titans out in that win-and-get-in game, and then he had a horrible playoff game, but they somehow came back and beat the Chargers.
Well, the Chargers did what the Chargers always do, which is implode.
Under Brandon Staley, yes, that horrible coach.
Lucas's boy. I think that if Liam Cohen does the thing that Liam Cohen was hired to do, and maybe he doesn't have to get 41 touchdown passes out of Trevor Lawrence the way that he did out of Baker Mayfield. But if they turn into a viable NFL team with a quarterback that lives up to the pedigree of best prospect we've seen since Andrew Luck and number 1 overall pick by consensus. Nobody questioned that pick. Hell, nobody was really disputing the Jets taking Zach Wilson, too, for all the good it did him.
Well, Trevor Lawrence was thought to have been a top 10 pick after his freshman year had he been able to actually leave after he dominated Alabama in the national championship.
He would have been. I'm convinced he would have been as a prospect, but prospect doesn't mean anything once you actually get into the NFL.
Correct.
Justin Herbert is everything you think a quarterback should be, except he doesn't win. I mean, I know he won 11 games last year, but he doesn't win for you in meaningful moments. Justin Herbert, if not for the existence of Trevor Lawrence, and I've talked about this before, Justin Herbert would be the most underachieving player in the NFL. And Justin Herbert has had more quantifiable success than has Trevor Lawrence. If Liam Cohen flips the script on Trevor Lawrence and turns him into the kind of player that he was always supposed to be and shakes off all the Urban Meyer stuff out of the gate and all the bad Jags stuff that comes as a result. And all the, what's the GM that they waited too long to fire after they figured out that no coach wanted to work with that GM? I can't remember his name.
Wasn't Khan, was it?
No, Shad Khan's the owner. It's going to drive me crazy. He was the 49, Trent Baalke.
Yes.
When they finally got rid of Trent Baalke way too late in the process and still were able to land Liam Cohen, they sound like they weren't going to get Liam Cohen without firing Trent Baalke. If Liam Cohen gets that done and the Jags turn into an actual playoff team, like by an earned, competent, I don't even want to say high level, but just a wild card team. Somebody that is going to give the Texans a legitimate fight. Where the Texans look pretty vulnerable because their offensive line situation didn't get better in the offseason. That's why C.J. Stroud struggled as badly as he did. There's a world in which the Jags could win the division. There's a world in which the Jags have the best quarterback in the division, and it's just taken them 4 years to get there. That, to me, would turn the thing most on its head. Because then you're talking about, well, it's not just, right now, everybody's chasing the Texans in the AFC South. The Colts are trying to figure it out. They're trying to save everybody's jobs over there.
But I don't think the Texans are that much, they're better than the rest of the 3 teams, no doubt about that.
Their defense should be a top 3 defense.
But I don't think this is like the Texans are this world-beating team in the AFC South.
No, but you don't have to be a world-beating team.
Exactly.
You just have to be the best of the pile of, a word I can't say on FCC Say Fair, that is the AFC South. You're fighting to be king of the garbage heap in the AFC South. But if there becomes 2 teams that are vying for the top of the division and you're chasing both of them, and Cam Ward has to be better than both Trevor Lawrence and C.J. Stroud, and appreciably better to be able to win the division, to actually put up a fight throughout the course of his, however long his AFC South career lasts, that changes the trajectory for this team. It changes the conversation for the Texans. God knows it puts the Colts in even more of a blender, who may be the most well-rounded roster of the 3 of them, but just don't have the quarterback.
So how much interest do you put into the Jones-Richardson, quote-unquote, competition?
I don't think it's that interesting. I think it's over. I think it's Daniel Jones' job.
Okay, so let me flip it. Do you think there's interest in Daniel Jones potentially resurrecting his career with Shane Steichen in Indy, or do you think it's just going to be the normal Daniel Jones we get? He's just better than Anthony Richardson is, though.
Shane Steichen won 8 games last year with very little at quarterback. A flash of Joe Flacco and a couple of games of Anthony Richardson here and there. He won 8 games with a quarterback that essentially quit on him in a game. It's hard for me to not think that Shane Steichen is good at what he does based on that sample size. And if they figure out even a league average quarterback situation, that they can't figure something there out.
They've really just not had it figured out since Phillip Rivers, honestly. They had Wentz and Matt Ryan, and neither of those went well. And since then, it's not been great either.
No, they've been chasing the dragon since Andrew Luck.
Rivers gave him a good season, though, in the COVID year.
He did make the playoffs, but I mean, it was at the end, and it was 1 year, right? That was not sustainable.
Yeah.
And they tried it again with Matt Ryan, and that was a nightmare.
That was awful.
Nightmare situation. If the Jags turn it around, and that just generally, whether or not they do, I think that they are the most interesting. Doesn't make them the most important, doesn't make them the best, but it does make them the most interesting storyline in the AFC South, rather, because it could completely upend how everybody is trying to compete in this division right now. Final hour coming up next. Bill Belichick is out here in public calling the Pats job suspect. We'll do that. We'll continue our SEC Media Days coverage with one big thing. I'm Buck Rising, 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Ross Johnston. SEC Media Days wrap up today with Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, and Texas A&M set to speak. 3HL will be there live to keep you covered for the final day with exclusive interviews, including Arkansas head coach Sam Pittman at 3 o'clock. The Titans added backfield depth this morning by signing running back Jordan Mims to a 2-year deal. Mims comes from playing the last 2 years with the New Orleans Saints. In the NFL, yesterday, the Washington Commanders have signed free agent outside linebacker Von Miller. Terms are not yet known, but the 8-time Pro Bowler will be headed to D.C. Adam Schefter also reports today that a Dallas County judge has sentenced Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice to 5 years probation and 30 days jail time for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas during the 2024 offseason. And Tom Pelissero also has reported that Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison's case has also concluded with a fine and probation. Nashville SC got back on the winning track last night, beating Columbus 3-0 at home. Sam Surridge took the lead for the Golden Boot race with his 17th goal of the season, which came in the 82nd minute. Goalkeeper Joe Willis also had 4 saves, which resulted in his 8th shutout of the season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Well, it's the final hour on this Thursday. We are happy to have you. If you're just now stopping by, if you've been hanging out with us so far this morning into this afternoon, thanks for doing so. It's me and Ross. Robert is sick. Lucas is in Brazil. I'm out of here tomorrow. We can do this. We can get there.
Close.
We are coming up on the 7th hour. We have entered the 7th hour of me talking in front of a microphone today.
I was going to say we.
Well, I have. You've been doing whatever the hell it is that you do back there. But, mercifully able to keep something on the air for us to get through just the last gasp of vacation time before training camp officially begins. And we're looking forward to training camp. I sent in my list of players and people from the Titans that I would like to interview, and just so you guys know of who we asked for as we begin our training camp interview series that'll continue all throughout the course of training camp. The show will be live at training camp. I think it's Wednesday and Thursday next week, and then basically every week after that until preseason games begin.
I think y'all might be there Tuesday, actually.
Tuesday and Wednesday?
Potentially.
Okay, I'll double check my schedule. Either way, we'll be out at training camp at some point for a couple of days next week. Cam Ward, Jeffrey Simmons, Brian Callahan, Mike Borgonzi, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Gunnar Helm, Tavondre Sweat, L'Jarius Sneed, Alec Iamaner, Nick Holtz, and Femi Oladejo. All are players and people that I submitted to do interviews with. Cosell is also coming back for training camp. Titans have been treating him nice over there. They've been letting him sit in on meetings, helping him, or basically asking for his advice and his analysis on some of the stuff that Greg watches on tape, because we don't just blow smoke up Greg's butt for no reason. He's really, really good at this and very respected around the league, and Titans gave him better access than I think he's ever had with an NFL organization. He's done a lot of these like sit-in type of things, but as far as I know, they basically let Greg have the run of the building, and that's what he's expecting to be able to do and then bring to the podcast after the fact.
Good. They should let him do that.
I agree.
I will do that without saying the words that you don't want me to say about the team that I root for.
Oh, you were going to say we should do that?
They should do that.
Does it hurt you? You look physically in pain.
Yeah, it's like a little just stabbing pain in my side every time I have to say they
instead of we. No, you'll get over that. It's fine. If there's one habit I'm going to break somebody of around here, it's referring to the team that you like or that you root for as we.
I don't even think you refer to Indiana as we anymore.
I don't. No, I don't think I ever could. I think that would hurt me in the same way that it hurts you to distance yourself.
But the second they make a Sweet 16 run, we're back in the Sweet 16.
No, I don't think I'd ever say we.
Cap.
615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Always at your disposal. If you would like to join the conversation, you are more than welcome to do so. Bill Belichick is more conversational than he's ever been talking about the Patriots job. So he rarely reacts to public comments made by anybody. And since Bill Belichick left the Patriots organization about 18 months ago, 24 years in New England, one of the, I don't think we'll ever see another dynasty quite to the extent of the Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I just think that you would struggle to recreate something like that in a lab. Robert Kraft has been one of the best owners in football because he had the best quarterback, and arguably at the time, I don't think there's any arguing that Bill Belichick is still the best coach in NFL history. He just fell off after Brady left, and that's understandable. Bob Kraft said he took a big risk, a quote-unquote big risk, by hiring Bill Belichick. And Belichick was asked for comment, an official comment, by ESPN about this. So on the idea that Belichick was a big risk by joining what was then a bad franchise with not a ton of resources and a bad cap situation, this is the quote from Belichick. As I told Robert multiple times through the years, I guess that shot at the Brady roast that they took together, the Netflix special, did you watch that?
I did. That was, some of those jokes went a little too far, but it was hilarious.
No, that's not far enough. That's all delightful. All the Giselle jokes, I believe she is now having a kid by that Tai Chi instructor or whatever it was.
Tom Brady's been rumored to be doing fine this summer.
Oh, what's the woman's name from Modern Family?
Oh, gosh, I forgot. But I was
Sofia Vergara.
Yes.
Yes, that is allegedly who he is spending his time with.
And Sydney Sweeney, I've heard.
They were seen chatting one another up at Jeff Bezos' wedding in Italy. I don't think there's anything actually there.
Tom, if you can't take both of them, I'm here.
Oh, are you? Good. So glad that you're there, willing and able to help Tom Brady out if he's got too many women in his life at this point in time. Anyway, this is the quote from Bill Belichick. As I told Robert Kraft multiple times through the years, I took a big risk by taking the New England Patriots head coaching job. I already had an opportunity to be the head coach of the New York Jets, like that's any better, but the ownership was unstable. I had been warned by multiple previous Patriots coaches, as well as other members of other NFL organizations and the media, that the New England job was going to come with many internal obstacles. I have made it clear that we would have to change the way the team was managed to regain the previously attained success. A lot of comments in here by Bill Belichick. The one that got questioned the most was in 1999. This is Bob Kraft on Julian Edelman's podcast. I gave up the number one draft pick for a coach that only had only won a little over 40% of his games to get him out. I don't know if there are any Jets fans here. I think getting Bill Belichick to come to the Patriots in 1999 was a big risk, and I got hammered in the Boston area. But he was with us for 24 years, and we did okay, which, of course, he's saying, that in tongue-in-cheek, that they did just okay. Belichick is calling the Patriots job currently a big risk. I appreciated Robert giving me the opportunity to make those changes and build a program that was consistent with my vision for the championship teams. Asked by ESPN why he felt Kraft made statements now that hiring him was a big risk, he said, "You'll have to ask Robert," and continued on by saying that there was risk in taking the Patriots job in the first place.
Very interesting for two guys that you would think would have a great relationship after all those years of success, but that makes me think that something behind closed doors might have happened during the 2023 season when they were not doing very well.
Bob Kraft has called it the worst 2 years of his ownership tenure, the last 2 years of the Patriots, which also would involve Gerard Mayo, not just exclusively to Bill Belichick. Obviously, the bottom fell out in 2023, and then Bill couldn't get a job because apparently Bob Kraft didn't have a problem picking up the phone or answering the phone when people called him about potentially hiring Belichick and be like, yeah, you're good on that. This is the kind of thing that comes up a lot. It came up with Golden State, for example, when Kevin Durant joined Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, who, by the way, is Klay really dating Megan Thee Stallion?
I believe, didn't he post something?
he has been like seen in the background of things. I don't know. Has he taken to social media to make it official? I don't think that he's outright out there, but there's been enough around Clay. Good for Clay Thompson,
While you keep
by the
going,
way.
I'll do some digging
Okay,
on that.
Clay Thompson, I was not familiar with your game. If you go back through his history, goodness gracious. Anyway, Kevin Durant joins the Golden State Warriors, and people were completely flummoxed. Oh, it's officially posted?
You can't see her face. I think it's fairly obvious that it's Megan Thee Stallion. But
Well, yeah, it's not necessarily her face that is her most defining feature.
That's a good point. But he posted 5 days ago. It has 1.2 million likes, and it's the second slide on there.
1.2 million is great.
Nate Robinson said Clay should change his name to @EasyMoneySniper, which is Kevin Durant's handle, with that accuracy.
Yeah, doing pretty well out here. He's another one of your wees. He's a Titans fan.
We ride together.
Oh, God. When Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, and then when Kevin Durant left the Warriors after winning a championship, people were confused. Why would you leave this situation? Why would you go somewhere else? And why would you harm the championship dynamics, the clear and obvious path that you have to winning more championships, to improving your legacy, to help make this one of the best runs in professional basketball? Already was with the Golden State Warriors, but to continue to build upon that, right? Because Kevin Durant's still playing basketball at a reasonably high level. It is so hard when you work and compete at that high of a level to maintain diplomacy, to maintain good relationships. Now, Draymond Green is obviously an explosive component that helped make that an easier decision for Kevin Durant. Doesn't sound like they have a bad relationship, but it definitely wore on people. I mean, who's the guy that Draymond Green punched in the face? Jordan Poole, who's most famous because Draymond Green punched him in the face.
And for going off when nice-looking female celebrities are sitting courtside.
Yeah, but every other game, he's pretty terrible. Draymond Green is a difference maker in terms of how difficult a dynamic can be to navigate. But Bill Belichick and Tom Brady all have ego. Bob Kraft has ego. All three of them probably think that they are most responsible for the championship runs, I guess it's runs plural, but the stretch of success across 24, maybe not 24 years, but let's call it 20 years, that they had in New England. All three probably had some level of resentment about, why aren't you giving me more credit for doing the thing that nobody else has done before? And the thing that mattered most, of course, was Brady, because Brady's the most important player on the team. He plays the most important position, and we saw what happened to the other two when Brady left. They fell apart. They made the playoffs once with Belichick. It was Mac Jones' rookie year. I remember the Titans playing a game at New England that Mac Jones set, I think at the time, career highs for. I don't know if he's ever eclipsed those career highs, as a matter of fact. But it looked like Bill Belichick had gotten it back. They drafted Brady's replacement, and things were going to keep rolling. And then it very much didn't. It's one of those grass isn't always greener scenarios, which is kind of what happened here in Tennessee. They fired Mike Vrabel. They thought they were going to get better as a result. They cratered. Doesn't mean that Vrabel is going to be proven right. Doesn't mean that Callahan is going to be a bad coach for forever. And it doesn't mean that the Tennessee Titans can't find some way into success now that they've drafted a player that they believe is going to help elevate the franchise. But there are so many different things here that see successful organizations fall apart. Think about your precious Titans. How quickly did that fall off a cliff? And you had 6 good years, right? You had 6 really good years, 6 sustainable years. How many playoff appearances in those 6 years? You had one with Malarkey, Vrabel in 19, 20, and 21. So 4 playoff appearances in 6 years, 6 straight winning seasons. That's a hard enough thing. They had as good a winning percentage as basically anybody in the sport not named the Chiefs.
And then they were, 7-3 and 22 before it eventually imploded?
7-3, lost 7 straight.
Yeah. So it can turn on a dime, like you were saying. Now, my question to you before we go to break is, do you expect any friction with Vrabel and Kraft, knowing Vrabel's personality? And I'm sure he wouldn't want to take any lip from Mr. Kraft necessarily.
I don't think there's going to be any lip from Kraft, because knowing what I know about Mike, knowing what I know about how that organization is currently being run, it's almost an overcorrection for how badly things have been. He's running that organization from a football standpoint. They have a GM, Elliott Wolf. I don't think Elliott Wolf matters at all. Not speaking for anybody in this situation, but I don't think Mike Vrabel brought in Ryan Cowden, the guy he wanted to be GM here. You think Elliott Wolf's long for that job? If Mike's got his GM candidate that he wanted in the first place in-house, I doubt it.
Kraft doesn't have much longer, I think, too.
What do you mean? As to live? What do you mean?
Yes, which would therefore tie in the ownership of the Patriots as well, but...
So, the son, Jonathan Kraft, maybe that's the next person. But like Mike Vrabel is if Tom Brady is the favorite son, Mike Vrabel's the second favorite son.
Yes, good point.
And I don't think they've had much pause at all about turning over the organization to him entirely, which is the whole thing that caused it. Not the whole thing. There was a variety of reasons why it fell apart here. But Mike's inability to basically acquiesce to his boss's demands, because Mike thought he knew how to run this organization better than the people who own it. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. We won't know. We'll get a head-to-head this year, and I don't think that will determine everything for the rest of time, but it will at least inform whether or not Mike Vrabel, with full control of an organization, is capable of doing that job as well as he thinks he's capable of doing it, because the Patriots roster is gnarly. It's awful. Titans are not in a good spot necessarily. They're in a better spot than New England, though.
I think they'll still play a lot of teams tough, though, knowing Vrabel.
He gets a lot of credit for that on the front end, and he deserves a lot of credit for that because they are situationally aware. And the thing that helps him more than anything there is he's got Stretch. Stretch went to work with McVay and the Rams. Now, Stretch is like this nebulous figure to most people, but you probably heard his name enough in the last 6 years. Stretch is one of the smartest football people that football people come into contact with. They will tell you that. And that's Mike's right-hand guy. So a lot of the stuff that Mike gets credit for was devised by John Stryker, a.k.a. Stretch. Not to say that Mike's not a good football mind. I think he is good enough, but I think Stretch is there to help him significantly. And the two of them being reunited after Stretch went to the Rams during Vrabel's year off, I think that's Week 7 is going to be fun.
Yeah. I know Stretch helps him out a lot with the analytical part of the game, during the games and stuff. And I think Vrabel, that was one of his best areas, in my opinion, as a coach. So...
the analytics people would probably disagree with you, but I think situationally, they found a lot of different ways to exploit situations to their benefit, which is that's all you want your coach to do. That's what Titans fans are waiting on Callahan to do. Just be a plus. Be a plus on the sideline.
Please.
Don't make the problems worse. Or don't just stand there screaming at the quarterback because he flipped the ball backwards to the running back, right? And I know Brian probably regrets to some extent his part in how public that was, even if he meant every word of what are you doing?
Well, CBS got the perfect camera shot of that as well.
They sure did. And I still have basically all of last year's press conference stuff on my phone. So I'll go out and before the next football season, I'll go out and clear out last season's stuff, but I'll go through and watch to make sure that there's nothing that I need to keep. Callahan's comments after that Jets game where he basically doubled down on what the F are you doing. Like he knows what he did.
Third down in the red zone, could have taken a field goal.
So bad.
Flip it back to Tajay.
God.
Make magic, baby.
Am I allowed to feel bad for Will Levis? I just feel bad for him. I know it's self-inflicted, but God, it's just to publicly fail that often. That frequently.
It was just the memes, man. It really was.
Oh, no, he's not. He is the most nationally covered thing about the Titans is the embarrassment that was the Titans and Will Levis. You didn't know what was happening in a Titans game. You didn't care to watch. All you needed to know is which Will Levis meme is going to drop this week. And God knows he had plenty of them.
On both knees with hands behind his head is the best.
Surrender Cobra.
Yes. Or when he took out that chain gang guy.
Oh, God, that guy broke his leg.
Also, side note, why does the NFL have the oldest men possible doing the chain gangs?
That's who's available. Those people don't want to give up those jobs. They're doing it until the wheels fall off, literally, until Will Levis knocks your leg off. Not that he meant to. Brandon Tyler says the crying after the Pats game certainly was a thing. Brian Callahan, it wasn't like he wasn't sobbing, right? But and this is one of the moments that I thought was also, I talked yesterday about him not tossing Jeffrey Simmons out of that practice that he swung on J.C. Latham and then immediately started a fight the next play in the first padded practice of last year's training camp. Another defining moment of Callahan's career last year was them beating a terrible Patriots team. him getting to the podium, I believe it was his opening statement, and getting passionate and choked up about how tough of a performance Tony Pollard had put on that day. And when I heard his voice crack for the first time, I'm like, oh, I think there might be something there. So the question from me was as simple, and I think I asked the first question in that press conference, was how badly did you need this? And he wasn't sobbing. He wasn't like crying, but it was a choked out real bad, like they needed it real bad. And I remember looking at that and being like, of course, there's an emotional toll. Maybe he already realizes that he's not going anywhere of consequence in 2024. I'm sure it never crossed his mind how bad it was going to continue to get to where you just resigned yourself, where the tears couldn't come out anymore, where you've just resigned yourself to, oh my God, we're in for this for 14 more weeks or 15 more weeks. And a week 5 bye, which means you got it. You raw dogged your way through the rest of that schedule with a miserable football experience. I don't know where Callahan specifically is going to learn or grow or better himself from how many different ways last year went wrong. But I do think that even though it's a very humanizing moment, I remember getting on here and talking about that. All right, it was a very humanizing moment, but show me something after the fact. Steel yourself, S-T-E-E-L, steel yourself after the fact, get yourself together, come back, hit somebody in the mouth after the fact, show us that this isn't just a one-off. And they couldn't. That was one of the defining moments of Brian Callahan's first year as the head coach there. Ideally, in 2025, he would like to have defining moments to the affirmative as opposed to the negative. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. We'll get back to our SEC Media Days coverage with one big thing on Alabama, A&M, and Kentucky coming up next. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. No question. Lunch hour officially upon us. Maybe you've already had your lunch. Maybe you haven't yet gotten your lunch. Hattie B's, any one of their fine Middle Tennessee locations open for you. Download the Hattie B's app and mobile order it if it's more convenient. One big thing for every SEC program. We've got 3 left to do. We've made our way through the entirety of the SEC. We let Lucas go to Brazil only if he would record these one big things on each SEC program, and we have yet to do Alabama, Texas A&M, and Kentucky. All 3 different programs, all 3 in different phases of their competitive life cycle. Kentucky fans probably not feeling very competitive right now. Bama, with as many projected wins in 2025 as any team in the conference. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, all over under 9.5 wins in 2025. Lucas seemed to believe prior to him leaving for Brazil that Alabama would be the team most likely to win the SEC in 2025. So let's see if he doesn't work that into part of his analysis.
One big thing for Alabama football in 2025 is bringing back that championship standard in year 2 of the Kalen DeBoer era. I think fans across the country are still rejoicing that Nick Saban is no longer the head coach at Alabama, but enjoy it as long as you can, because this Alabama team in 2025 looks poised to get right back to that place that they were consistently in the Saban era. An interesting question around Alabama, though, is, okay, what's the new standard around Kalen DeBoer? Understanding a championship standard, like we can say that, but Kalen DeBoer is not going to get fired if he doesn't win at least one national championship every 4 years, the way that Nick Saban did. But that is still the expectation at Alabama. You just get a longer leash for not being the best coach in the country, although a lot of people were on Kalen DeBoer's neck for a 9-win season in his first year as Alabama's head coach. Coming into 2025, I will say one place where the standard has had 0 drop-off since DeBoer took over is recruiting. Top 3 class in the class of 2025. They are the hottest team in the country in recruiting in the class of 2026. Courtney Morgan over there, the general manager of Alabama football, has helped keep that standard elevated. Another thing Kalen DeBoer did this past offseason is brought in Ryan Grubb to call plays. His offensive coordinator, when they were at Washington, initially hired Grubb to be his OC last year, but then he got scooped up at the last minute by the Seattle Seahawks. That didn't go great. He's let go in Seattle, and he reunites with Kalen DeBoer. I think that can make a huge difference with this Alabama offense, with the change in quarterback as well, and Ty Simpson. A lot of people in this state remember Ty Simpson, West Tennessee, Martin, Westview High School product, the son of UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson, someone Tennessee pursued very heavily, 5-star quarterback. He's now been in Tuscaloosa for a few years now, and it seems like this is his time to shine, and we all know what they have on the outside with Ryan Williams, who I'm sure we'll all talk about as being the 18-year-old star receiver instead of 17-year-old in 2025. All that to say, Alabama, after going 9-3 in the regular season last year and narrowly missing out on the playoffs, is one of the most talented rosters in the country. Still, in my opinion, has one of the best head coaches in the country. And just because it's no longer Nick Saban doesn't mean that they don't have the capability of getting back to the national championship standard that is expected there. Their talent profile very much says they have that capability. So we'll see if Alabama can reach those heights, but absolutely reestablishing that standard is the big thing for Alabama in 2025, and they sure as hell can do it.
I don't think people understand the degree of difficulty that losing Ryan Grubb at the last minute caused for Alabama, and they still won 9 games. That is somebody who Kalen DeBoer has worked with basically his entire career, institutional knowledge, somebody you don't have to worry about running your offense. For Kalen DeBoer, the most important side of the ball, and they were still able to win 9 games. Now, they had the most public upset of the college football season. Vanderbilt upsetting Alabama at West End here in Nashville probably made things sting for Alabama fans more than an average. Had they won 9 games, but they'd have beaten Vanderbilt soundly and moved on, you probably wouldn't have as much angst as Bama fans seem to do about whether this guy's going to be capable of continuing to carry that mantle that Nick Saban's program has held at such a high standard for so long. I was really impressed with the job that he did last year. I know Jalen Milroe maybe didn't have his best season, But really, it comes down to a lot of these go balls where he's just not accurate on, where he was hitting them in his first year or in the 2024 or 2023 season. And in 2024, he just wasn't as accurate on those specific passes, so it made him look appreciably worse now. It's something they're going to have to figure out in Seattle, ironically enough, who drafted Jalen Milroe this year. But for DeBoer to still find ways in the SEC in his first year to, one, sustain the level of recruiting that they're sustaining, two, win 9 games last year and come in with the highest projected win total, tied for the highest projected win total in the SEC. I think Bama fans should be feeling pretty good about their circumstance right now, even if last season didn't leave the best taste in their mouth.
Let's just call it what it is, too, for Kalen DeBoer. No one wants to be the guy chasing the legend, and he's in that position. But again, 9 wins in your first year is no slouch at all. And I agree with what you said about if maybe that loss didn't come to Vanderbilt and came instead to a more high-profile team, he would probably be looked at a little bit differently. And I think the way they lost to Oklahoma at the end of the season as well, just getting kind of blown out in Norman was not great. But I think everything's still looking up for Alabama for sure.
One big thing on Texas A&M. Let's hear from Lucas.
One big thing for Texas A&M in 2025 is, can you show us that you are on the way to being the program we know you're capable of being? I don't think there's a more untapped potential program in the country in regards to its resources than Texas A&M. Year 2 of the Mike Elko era, and he punched above his weight last year. Mike Elko was impressive in 2024. They won 8 games, higher than most expected. They did end the season on a sour note, gave up a 17-point lead in a bowl game loss to USC in what was a crazy game. But they come back to 2025 with some well-deserved excitement on offense. Marcel Reed is going to be this team's starting quarterback. Local guy, MBA high school, probably needs to put on some good weight and just grow physically and develop, continue to do that. But really fun player to watch who showed a lot of promise last year for Texas A&M, especially on the ground, over 500 rush yards. I love what they did in the portal at receiver. Casey Concepcion, who is going to be a draft prospect as a slot receiver, comes over from NC State. I know Tennessee saw him last year. And Mario Craver comes over from Mississippi State. So there's some speed on the outside. And they bring back an all-SEC running back in Le'Veon Moss. Their offensive line might be one of the best in the country. They've got guys with all-conference credentials. They've got guys that are going to be in the mix for All-American credentials. They've got their starting center back. He missed almost all of last year with a torn ACL. The defense is a little bit more of a question. Was a big struggle last year. Poor tackling, just the defensive back group gave up a ton of pass yards last year. Pass rush is a big question going into this year, but the good news on that front, that's what Mike Elko does. Former defensive coordinator at A&M under Jimbo Fisher. If he can have the defensive unit holding serve, this offense could have some really high potential. Tough road slate. Go to Notre Dame. You go to LSU. You go to Mizzou this year, but manageable. And I wouldn't be shocked if A&M makes that leap to being a 10-win caliber program in 2025. Something, by the way, they have not done since 2012 when Johnny Manziel was the quarterback and Kevin Sumlin was the coach.
You looked confused by that audio. Did something surprise you about Lucas's analysis there?
Did you hear that sound in the back at one point?
What sound?
It sounded like mama or something to that effect. Wonder who that must have been.
Interesting. Stray baby running around the studios? No, that
big hairy baby running around the studio.
I hate having to explain show jokes, and I'm sure there's a portion of the audience that doesn't need the explanation, but when I went to owners meetings in Palm Beach this past spring, and I did an interview with Mike Borgonzi in the lobby of the Breakers Hotel. Not exactly soundproof, the situation. There was a small child to either my right or my left. I couldn't see where the kid was. But while I'm interviewing Mike Borgonzi, the mic was loud enough to pick up "Mama" in the background. And so now Robert does that in like basically every piece of audio that we have.
Well, it's the only SEC one, unless he's done it in Kentucky as well.
We'll find out. One big thing about the Kentucky Wildcats in 2025, please.
The big thing for Kentucky football in 2025 is show a pulse, man. This team was dreadful last year, 4-8 season, and things are getting a little stale in the Mark Stoops era. He's a legend there. He's the all-time winningest coach in Kentucky football history, but I might be as low on Kentucky as anybody in the conference. Kentucky might be the roster that the average SEC fan knows the least about. Remember Zach Calzada, former Texas A&M, Auburn quarterback. Last year, he was at Incarnate Word, where Cam Ward started his college football career, and now he's going to be the quarterback at Kentucky, who has failed to replace Will Levis, trying to seek out that transfer quarterback, that experienced guy to come in and take the reins. Levis had that successful 2021 season. We know took a step back in 2022, and then it was kind of a swing and miss with Devin Leary, the NC State transfer. It was a massive swing and miss with Brock Vandegrift, the Georgia transfer last year, and now they're going to try with Zach Calzada. And they are almost entirely building their starting 11s on both sides of the ball out of transfers. That doesn't feel like a recipe for success for Mark Stoops, not to mention a brutal schedule. At South Carolina, at Georgia, you got Texas, you got Tennessee, you got Florida, Ole Miss, all on the schedule. Vandy and Louisville to close out the year sure as hell aren't gimmies with the talent profile as low as this Kentucky side has. So maybe they can scratch and claw and get to bowl eligibility. But does that really quell any concerns? If you're a Kentucky fan, does that make you feel any better about the situation? I'm even lower on Kentucky than Mississippi State. Mississippi State may not be a talented roster, but they at least have a head coach that has an established pedigree as a play caller. There is that upside that the offense can catch fire at some point. They have an experienced quarterback in there in Blake Shapen, who was injured last year, and we haven't really seen the Blake Shapen experience at Mississippi State. I don't really know what Kentucky fans have to be excited about for 2025. Show a pulse, one big thing for the Cats.
There is nothing that Lucas enjoys more than dumping on the Kentucky football program.
It was right off the bat and right at the end.
Because, yeah, he wanted to make sure he reiterated, just show a pulse. He doesn't want them to show a pulse at all. It's the one opponent that Tennessee has been able to consistently beat, no matter how bad they are. Lucas loves Kentucky football because he gets to poop on them at every given chance.
I hope the Big Blue get that win this year.
Is it Proxy One on YouTube says, what happens when we run out of Lucas clips? Well, the show's over. Last call for phone calls. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Very funny.
Go to break.
No.
What do you mean? What do you mean we can't go to break?
We got to keep talking.
Why?
I don't know. You just want to let Lucas do our entire segment for us?
Yes. I'm trying to go to vacation.
D-.
I'm done.
D-.
Paul's next.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
Welcome back to the show. There you go, a little juice. Paramore. Nothing makes me happier than some Haley Williams. I'm pissed I missed that pop-up show at Brooklyn Bowl after Bonnaroo got canceled and all the artists scattered to the wind, except really they scattered to bars across Nashville to do pop-up shows. That would have been sick. That's probably the best concert I've ever seen is Paramore at Bonnaroo. When me and Robert and Lucas went for the first time together, what was that, 22, 23?
You went to that concert?
Well, we went to Bonnaroo that day. We got day passes for Bonnaroo. What?
Keep going.
That's not a fine.
Keep going.
Going to concerts is a fine?
No, finish what you were going to say.
Well, we got day passes at Bonnaroo. We saw the Revivalists open for Paramore, open for the Foo Fighters.
All right.
Where's the fine?
I'm just adding on to my tab that you owe me at the end of the show.
Your tab? Listen, you haven't done anything. No, so normally I pay Ross out of pocket because I'm tired of posting my own social media. And as I get older, I'm only going to get lazier and outsourcing the rest of my things, as we just had Lucas record 16 individual SEC Media Days. One big thing because I didn't want to do SEC Media Days coverage. Thank you, Lucas. I was so miserable when that thing was in town. He could not have been happier. I was like, why the hell does anybody want to be at something like this? This is terrible. But we got it done. So I've been outsourcing my social media to Ross, and Ross seems to think that I owe him money when he hasn't done anything as far as producing social media content for the show this week.
There hasn't been anything.
Oh, really?
Well, now there is with the install out, but you see I'm a little tied up from 10 to 1 today.
No, I'm so sorry to have your time occupied by something that the vast majority of people, even Jackson, can find a way to multitask.
It's okay. I'll put a little tip in my Venmo request at the end of the week. While you are drunk in California.
The only reason I'm going to be doing just about everything in California, I'm going to squeeze as much pollution into my body as I can handle for 4 days in California before training camp comes back and all that goes away.
What are the odds that you show up here on Monday?
That I show up here on Monday?
Plus 250.
Oh, yeah, slim to none. Slim to none.
Okay, plus 750.
I would say plus 3,000 at this point because Lucas is threatening to call in sick without actually being sick just because he needs a day to recover from his Brazil trip. But Robert calling out sick this week, Lucas going to Brazil this week means that the two of them are 100% working Monday, and I am going to take my sweet ass time getting back from California.
I might throw like $5 on that bet.
Tyler Dial says I should have paid him to post some polls. Yeah, I forgot to do the polls today.
There it is.
Yeah.
Beat me to it. I was going to say it once the poll bed came in, but It's fine. Accountability, like you said earlier in the show.
It's a very accountable show. It's a very aware show. Self-awareness is the thing that the show probably does the best. But accountability is probably not something that we do very well.
But we're improving.
Are we?
We're doing something right now.
This is getting ready to be our 5th football season on the air, and I don't. The on-air product is better because it's not just me yammering for 3 straight hours the way that I tried to the first time because I had no idea how to do radio and probably still don't. But I don't know if the show is markedly improved. Our ratings are awesome, so we'll take it. We don't know why the hell you guys are listening to this as much as you are, but you are, thank God. Improved? I don't know. I think there's just been a level of acceptance. We are what we are. We know our strengths. We know that we have far more weaknesses than we do strengths, and that we will survive these things together. Mike Williams is retiring from the Chargers. That news just came out. Chargers are reporting for training camp. Najee Harris, obviously dealing with an eye injury after a fireworks incident on July 4th, and now Mike Williams, who came back to the Chargers on a 1-year deal after being drafted by that organization back in 2017. That would have been the Corey Davis draft. Retires at the age of 30, somewhat unexpectedly. And I know he's had a lot of issues with his health over the course of his career. Corey Davis retired and then tried to unretire. Technically, Corey is still unretired, and I know he's here locally. He was trying to get back into it. I ran into Corey Davis at the health club last year. I guess that would have been last summer. It's fine. I'll take that. And he was saying that he was trying to get some workouts on the books. I think he had one workout with the Bills, who desperately needed a wide receiver, but Corey never ended up latching on somewhere.
Well, I believe he retired during the training camp when the Jets were on Hard Knocks, because you remember the scene.
No, I don't watch Hard Knocks.
Okay. Well,
buddy, I go to training camp for a living. I'm not watching Hard Knocks.
There was a scene about it. They talked about it.
They put the Jets on Hard Knocks?
Yeah, with Aaron Rodgers.
Were they really?
Going into his first season. Yes.
Oh, I could not have possibly cared less about that.
Really?
Ugh.
I felt like it was such a better story that year than last year.
I want more Aaron Rodgers and more training camp? No, I'm just fine, thank you.
Fine with Titans training camp and Antonio Brown punching our
Chris Jackson
carousel of DBs.
Chris, yeah, joint training camps are fun. I like being at training camp. I don't like watching training camp on TV.
Are you just trying to milk this out so we don't have to do the polls since there's no...
Yeah, there's no polls. I didn't do the polls today. But play the poll music anyway, because, of course, the polls that I didn't post today are sponsored. Yeah.
Lucas... The polls brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealership that Buck did not post on his Twitter today. What was the best moment at last night's ESPYs?
Shane Gillis. Easy.
Best joke?
Best joke was the joke about Juan Soto, about Joe Rogan sending Shane Gillis to the ESPYs because Joe Rogan thinks that Commissioner Adam Silver is an alien, and then he very quickly said, well, Donald Trump also sent me to the ESPYs because he thinks Juan Soto is an alien, and he asked me to come for him too. That made me laugh.
I agree, and the fake WNBA person in the crowd.
That was the best executed joke. The joke that made me laugh the hardest, though, was the Juan Soto joke.
Very good. How big of a deal is it that Femi Oladejo has not signed?
Not that big a deal right now because we saw the second-round pick ball start to get rolling again. Alfred Collins of the 49ers signed a not fully guaranteed rookie deal, which has been the holdup after the Texans and Browns just banged everybody by giving out fully guaranteed deals to their second-round picks. I would expect Femi to be signed no later than the day that they report.
Very good. Who will be the next NFL wide receiver to get paid? Terry McLaurin?
I don't think that. I mean, he may get paid, but I don't think he's going to get the kind of money that he wants. Do you know Terry McLaurin's almost 30?
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically the same age as Calvin Ridley, which I think would probably surprise people. And Calvin Ridley's making $23 million a year, which was a big contract for a top-of-market Tier 2 wide receiver in getting ready to head into his 30s. Last year was Calvin's 29th. Yeah, he was 29 last year. He's 30 this year. Terry will get a contract, but it's probably not going to be more than Calvin Ridley got, and I think that's okay.
Well, I mean, who knows what'll happen with that. And lastly, who's the best cornerback in the NFL? I think this one's pretty easy as of right now.
Best cornerback in the NFL?
Corner, CB.
Who would you say?
Pat Surtain. I agree with the ESPN.
Yeah, defensive player of the year.
Spot.
Yeah, that's not a bad player to go with. I think that's just so subjective year to year. That's a really tough mantle or title to maintain, to defend. So we'll see if Pat Surtain can't get it done.
Did you see Jamar Chase and Ocho Cinco and all them talking about going against him at their little receiver camp? I did.
Doing? What would a wide out workshop or whatever they called it?
Yes, Xavier Restrepo was there, by the way, for Titans fans. So good to know.
He sure was.
Those are the polls.
The most heralded, undrafted rookie free agent wide receiver of all time.
Indeed.
That's going to do it for the show. I'm out. I'm going to California. I'll be back for training camp. Rhett Bryan and Kevin Dyson, they'll make this a more professional product tomorrow in the absence of, I'm assuming, all three of us, unless Robert comes back. But you're in good hands.